Hello, thank you for waiting for us. I would like to reconvene this Washington Unified School District regular Board of Education meeting for May 11th, 2017. First, we will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and our student who is here with us tonight, Victoria, I apologize if I pronounce your last name wrong, Civic. Would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let the record reflect that all board trustees are present with the exception of Board Trustee Cruz. Announcement of actions taken in closed session. We had E1 Government Code Section 54956.8, conference with real property negotiators, information received. And we had E2 Government Code 54956.9, pending or potential litigation, direction was given. That takes us to the approval of the agenda, and I do have two public comments for the approval of the agenda. I have Don Stauffer.
Good evening. I'd like to humbly request that you pull consent items P8 and P11 for discussion, please.
Okay, thank you. And I have one more blue slip that I will be calling. That is Kimmy Gibson.
I'd just like to second Don's request to please pull P11 for discussion.
Okay. All right. Do I?
P11, P8.
P8 and P11.
All right, I make a motion to pull P8 and P11.
Okay, so can I get an approval of the agenda with P8 and P11? We'll move those to action after our other agenda items.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Okay, so approved by Board Trustee Alcala and seconded by Vice President Pizzotti. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I too vote aye. And that takes us to communication and celebrations. And this evening, it's been a long day, we have River City High School solo ensemble participants, and I'd like to welcome up Principal Stan Moisich from River City, please.
Occasional on those.
Good evening. How are you all doing? Thanks again for having us to celebrate once again. So you've already met this wonderful young lady, and Mr. Marvelli is supposed to be up here, so I'm going to shout him out and say this is definitely a big part of his project and the work he does at River City High School with the music program. But tonight we have this lovely young lady who's going to perform for us. So go ahead, please.
Board of Trustees, I want you to understand how difficult all of this is. The reason why we asked specifically for Victoria to come and perform her solo is because this is above and beyond her class and her schoolwork. So Victoria, you need to join me up. Where are you? Yeah. So what this is what all students in band and orchestra hope to participate in, and it's what we call Solo and Ensemble Festival. And that is when there are very few students who are chosen to take on this additional challenge. And what it is they learn a concerto, which is what you just did, which is like a college entry performance that you do to get into college, an audition so that they give you placement of whether or not you get accepted into college or whether you're at the different stages and what specific ensembles you get placed in. I mean, it's very dear. Personally, for me, I used to do this when I was in junior high and high school, and I was just so glad to see that our students have the same opportunity. And what they do is they do this on their own time, with the mentoring of course, their great music teachers that spend the additional time doing this. But then what they do ultimately is stand before a judge that they have never met before. And the judge then sits like where you are, and the student performs in front of the judge. The judge then gives them very positive feedback, but at the same time, constructive criticism on how to better their performance and all the other musical things that go with it, and then they give them a rating. And the ratings range from command performance, from a rating of a 1, a rating of a 2. And so Victoria stands here, as you can hear, she's very accomplished, and I wanted to make sure that the board knew that our students, of what we're trying to build with visual and performing arts in our district, that this is what our kids can look up to when they're in kindergarten and starting in band in 5th grade, going through middle school program, and ultimately see what can happen in high school. So congratulations, Victoria, and thank you for sharing with us.
Also, you saw accompanying her tonight, we had she had some big help. So, Soren, are you still here? All right. Stand up and take a bow. Thank you. Good.
All right, thank you. That was fantastic. Can I ask, Victoria, how long you have been playing for? 5 years? Wow. Very, I couldn't do that. That was incredible. Thank you so much for coming tonight, to both of you. Thank you. Okay. We have J2, recognition of Washington Unified School District homeschool liaisons and interpreters. And we're going to invite up Superintendent Luna again.
Thank you, President Kirby Gonzalez, Board of Trustees, and staff and guests. It would be full of dismiss if I am remiss that if I did not bring forward our homeschool liaisons and interpreters. Our homeschool liaisons and interpreters were at every single parent community forum that we did in January and February to provide translations and assistance to all of our families that are Spanish-speaking and Russian-speaking. They were at every single one. And we are so very fortunate to have the assistance and support of these staff members. And I just wanted to make sure that we gave them a great shout out for being there for all of those evening meetings. And even though they may not have had some translation needs that night, they still stayed and were a part of the community and with the parents and engaging with them. So I just wanted to give a great shout out to our three, and I'm going to ask them to come up. And so first we have Pavel Litovka. Maybe we can take a picture too.
Yeah, and also with
And
the
then we
musician.
also have Monica Valadez. picture. And we, wrong one, sorry. Okay. And we have Claudia Martinez. Is Claudia here? Oh, there you are. Okay, so we're going to take a group picture really quick. Okay. Come on up.
Okay, and we're not done celebrating. So now we have the J3, which is the recognition of Washington Unified School District Employees of the Year honorees, and Assistant Superintendent Michael Reed.
Good evening, members of the board, cabinet, and audience that's here this evening to help us recognize and call out our Employees of the Year for 2016-17. So we're going to start with a quick video, a number of pictures when we went out and let folks know that they were selected as Employees of the Year, some of those festivities, and captured some of our teachers with our kiddos as well. So enjoy. All right. So we had the opportunity to go out, like I said earlier, and recognize our folks. We caught them off guard. They didn't know we were coming. which was a lot of fun, and the students got to help us in the celebration. So this evening, 4 of our 6 folks that we just saw in the video were able to make it here this evening. A couple were unable to make it due to prior engagements, but we're going to talk about all 6 of them. And they've been a little bit, I was joking with a group of them this evening who I'll have come up here in just a second, that they're kind of a traveling roadshow because we've got them, we're celebrating them in so many different places. And so we'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. So if I could have our 3 honorees that are here, and Armando come up here, and I'm going to talk about you while you're standing up here, which should really make you, embarrassed. Yes, sure. So first, I just want to talk a little bit about our process. As we do this each year, we go through this process of selecting employees of the year, and we refine it a little bit and do our best to pick folks who are displaying exceptional service to students. And so we have a process where we call for nominations. So nominations can come from staff, meaning colleagues, can come from our leadership team, or even the community. So we take those all in, and we set a little timeline and work through that. And then we go through and consider each of the nominations based on that exceptional service criteria. We do an interview and selection process. We want to make sure that oftentimes we get nominees that are repeat nominees, which is great, and we make sure that folks know that they've been nominated, but we want to be recognizing as many staff as possible. So it's one of the pieces that we take a look at as we're doing this. And then we have an interview process where we ask them all to come in and take a look or have a listen to what they've been doing and why they're there. And once that selection process is over, we have some next steps. So they're getting some opportunity to go out and be recognized by Rotary. They have been at the Yolo County Office of Education banquet, and some of you were there, so that you know that. They're here this evening. And then we have 2 more opportunities that they're going to take part in. Next Tuesday night, as you know, we have our Washington Unified Awards banquet, where they'll be recognized. And then next Friday night, they'll be down on the field at Rivercat Stadium to be recognized there as well. Yes. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about each of these folks, and so that you get to know them a little bit better. So I'm going to start with Alex Yang, who is an outreach specialist here in our district. So I did a little calculation on each of these folks just to give us a little sense of what they've been up to over the years that they've served with us. And Alex has been working with us for 18, although we were debating earlier this evening that it might be 19. So I said that's just that free year you did for us. So I'm not sure how that happened. But so I figured just on a lowball calculation, Alex touches or changes the life of a family and a student at least 1 a week, right? It's probably more than that. But we just say 1 a week for all the weeks he's been here in our district for 18 years. That means he's changed the lives of 650 families and kids, right? That's a lot of lives changed, right? So for the past 9 years, he served as the outreach specialist at Bridgeway Island. In those years, he has demonstrated outstanding service and commitment to families in the West Sacramento community. He meets with students and families regularly to help connect them to academic and personal resources to meet their needs. His approachable demeanor makes it easy to build trust and develop relationships with the students and their families. He is very active and dedicated to the students of Washington Unified, so much so that he voluntarily developed a sports program for elementary students after school. He was also instrumental in the behind-the-scenes development of our now very successful 6th through 8th grade sports program. Since the program's inception, Mr. Yang has coached flag football and basketball for Westmore Oaks, Stonegate, and Bridgeway Island. Mr. Yang has a great rapport and everlasting bond with students that go beyond the scope of his job. He is dedicated, punctual, and dependable, and a true advocate for the community for which he serves. This one was interesting in a very, very good way. So Armando is this is Armando. This is Armando right here, just that face, right? He's always smiling. And it was so fun because when we went to the school, he was out mowing the yard on the kindergarten yard. And so I walked out the back door, and he saw me, and he's a little startled, like, why is Mike here, right? And so I waved him over, and then he got real serious, like something must have happened, I got to help out, right? And then we surprised him and had the kindergarten students come out, as you can see, and join in some pictures. So Armando has been taking care of our grounds for 37 years.
Wow.
I tried to do some rough calculation on how many blades of grass that is, and I just stopped. It's too much. Yes. So Mr. Velez is a groundskeeper too, employed by the district for 37 years. He takes immense pride in what he does and was previously recognized by the Sacramento Bee with the Above and Beyond Award. Mr. Velez enjoys his job, greeting students and parent members, but most of all, interacting with our students. He feels it is important for children to see him happy and enjoying what he does. And we went there, and the students were out there at that moment that that picture was taken. You could tell they already knew who he was. It was obvious, right? Mr. Velez has worn many hats during his employment, serving as a custodian, site utility worker, and a coach. He also wears his famous cheesehead hat when the Green Bay Packers win, because in a couple of those years you had to wear that a lot. Yeah. Because it brings in a positive impact and interaction with all students. On Fridays, he visits study hall to check in on student athletes, encouraging them to stay ahead of the game in academics, because he also serves as a coach. As a conscientious worker, Mr. Velez frequently adjusts his work tasks as to not interrupt classroom instruction with noise from the equipment he uses. He understands the impact that he has on the campus, from the beautification to instruction to relationships. He focuses on his job and doing it well. When asked what advice he would give to a new coworker, which is one of our interview questions, he said, "I just need to remember, and everybody needs to remember, we work for the community and the kids," which is a fantastic answer. All right. Gloria Dunham was unable to make it here this evening. She's rather shy, but we caught her off guard when we went to Southport and had a lot of fun talking with her, and she was very excited. So in a quick calculation for her, because she's been doing the cook manager job for us for 11 years, so I started thinking, well, how much food is that? So if we just roughly feed about 300 lunches a day, which is probably a low ball at that school, just on a guess, all right? She's been doing that for 11 years. That's roughly 600,000 lunches that have been under her watch. And then if we add in breakfast, she's probably getting close to 1 million, if not more. That's a lot of food. She's one of a kind, and she truly is. If you have not met her, you need to go and visit. She has been part of the WUSD family for the past 11 years and serving as the cook manager at Southport. Her love and dedication for every single student and passion for cooking goes without parallel. She tries to impact the school culture by creating a loving environment where all students feel welcomed. Making the students feel valued and boosting their confidence is something she has incorporated in her job duties. She truly makes a connection with the students, and they are always appreciative. Feeding the students is only part of what makes Ms. Dunham special. She goes above and beyond in helping the school with food and snacks and special events, parent meetings, promotional ceremonies, and after-school programs. She works tirelessly to ensure healthy and delicious meals are provided, and she is always eager to help where needed. Let's give her a hand. All right. Heather Best. All right. So Heather is a 5th grade teacher at Stonegate School, and I figured she said she's been teaching 18 years. We were talking about that earlier. So with that calculation, I figured out she's been working with roughly 30 kids a year, and that's probably a rough estimate, right? So then I figured out how many student hours that is. It's over 600,000 hours, student hours with students. You must be tired. Yes. She is an amazing, positive, and competent educator at Stonegate Elementary. She has been with WUSD for 18 years. During those years, she has built everlasting relationships with students and staff, so much so that former students often visit her classroom to start their day off well. The culture and climate in Ms. Best's classroom is one of support and teamwork. Students who previously had behavior challenges and strong academic needs are now thriving and working at high levels along with their peers. Ms. Best is also an innovative teacher that uses technology to engage students in focused learning. Rarely does she have to redirect students during work time. Ms. Best is modest in sharing her accomplishments, but the work she does at Stonegate with students and families is remarkable. Her passion as a child was to become a teacher, and that is evident each day she teaches. Stephanie was unable to be here this evening, as I stated earlier. She is our secondary teacher of the year. She teaches at Bridgeway Elementary School Bridgeway K-8 as a social science teacher. She's been with the district for the past 5 years, and I'll share with you a little piece of data I came up with for her in just a moment. She is a dedicated, caring, insightful, and highly effective teacher that spends many hours in preparation for her classes, focusing on developing critical thinking skills in her students. Ms. Kugler is adept at the use of technology in supporting student learning. In her first year, she was awarded the Innovative Educator Grant. She has extensively incorporated technology in the classroom and also leads trainings for other teachers on best practices with ed tech. She is a staff advisor for the National Junior Honor Society, helping grow the group from 9 members to 60. Her students participate in field trips to college campuses such as Stanford and UC Berkeley because she believes in connecting student learning with real-world experiences for her 8th grade students. She coordinated, fundraised, and planned a visit to the Museum of Tolerance in Los Angeles and the Legion of Fine Art Museum in San Francisco. There is no limit to Ms. Kugler's potential as an educator based on her commitment to making learning relevant to her students. So I did a little research on the National Junior Honor Society. I was a little interested in it. I didn't know much about it. But the basis of the society is that they're building future leaders, right? And so they want students to participate in this, and they build their skills in scholarship, service, leadership, character, and citizenship. So oftentimes we hear the saying, we're only as strong as our weakest link, and I subscribe to that. I think that's true. I think what Stephanie is doing also, though, at the same time, is making sure that our links are all strong and that we are as great as our strongest links as well, and monitoring that and making sure that all of our kiddos grow in these 6 skill areas. All right, Laura Frederico is our Volunteer of the Year. Last but not least, she has been a past president at Southport Parent Teacher Organization and has served in a variety of roles as a PTO member and currently functioned as the fundraising chairperson. Her contributions have made a significant impact on the Southport elementary community, helping to create many after-school programs, including Spanish 1, 2, and Mini Spanish, a cooking class sponsored by the University of California, Davis, yoga, Google programming, chess club, and many more. I want to go back and be a student, because those all sound fun. She has aided in the research and implementation of an art docent program for grades TK through 4 and has successfully recruited over 25 parent and grandparent volunteers to teach art each week. Laura has also written a grant to purchase curriculum for the art docent program and Spanish curriculum and worked tirelessly to establish a strong partnership with the Crocker Art Museum, offering enriching opportunities for all students. Additionally, she has written countless grants for miscellaneous campus activities, including, do you need a job? Okay. Including field trips, garden supplies and upgrades, cancer protection for students, the list goes on and on. She is a pillar of support for Southport Elementary, a dedicated community member and parent. Her tireless dedication and energy for serving our students creates a true gateway to extraordinary possibilities for all children. And thank you so much, Laura, for bringing enrichment to our students who all very much need it. And we appreciate all of your efforts. So if I could have the superintendent come up.
I just want to say quickly before we come down for a picture, I don't know what they're celebrating downstairs, but it's definitely not as good as the people that we're celebrating up here. And this is a pretty full room, so I think we should just give one heck of a loud cheer so they hear us down there. All right. Okay. That now takes us to our Student Association reports. And tonight we have from River City High School, we have Vikram Kelklar.
Good evening, everyone. I'd first like to start with Bridger Island. So Bridger Island had an extremely successful bike and walk to school day. There was over 150 kids and parents out with a lot of staff walking from the park to the school. We had a news camera crew here. The mayor of West Sacramento joined us. Mr. Christopher Cabalden and Dinger, the River Cats mascot, was there as well. The River City Drumline led the way with their incredible beats, along with the Sacramento Police Station to share some safety tips at our bike rodeo. Bridger Island's open house is tonight, where there will be music, food trucks, and events here will be happening at Bridger Island from 4:30 to 7. The River City High School Drumline will be performing alongside the Bridger Island Band. The Student Author Day is May 19th, where kids will publish their works and share with parents. Family and friends will join us for the lunch picnic from 12 to 12:30. And finally, for Bridger Island, they have their Drama Vapor program, which is Visual and Performing Arts Showcase, happening on May 22nd, where students will get a chance to show off their acting skills and theater performances. Now for River City High School, leadership is getting ready for our Move Up rally on May 19th. Leadership is working on making rallies different by adding in more games and class competitions and cutting down on performances. We're looking forward to decorating the school and going all out for this year's end of the year rally. Leadership is also hosting their prom on May 20th at the Library Galleria in downtown Sacramento. The fun theme this year is Tonight's Dream, Tomorrow's Memory. Come join us from 8 to 11 p.m. for great fun, dancing, and see River City students in gorgeous apparel, featuring yours truly. For the last days of their senior year, leadership will be hosting a lot of senior activities at the end of May. First, we have our annual senior trip to Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, and then a night out on the cruise ship in San Francisco Bay. The next morning, the seniors will enjoy their first ever graduation walk to their old elementary school in their cap and gown, followed by a senior breakfast back at River City High School campus, and lastly, enjoying an evening on River City campus as they enjoy bounce houses, food trucks, and great company with their family and friends. There's also a River City dance show tonight and tomorrow night from 6:30 in the River City gym. It's a great show. Please don't miss it. For River City sports, track and field is hosting the TCC League Championships this Friday that will determine who will win the league title and who qualifies for the CIF section meet. The meet will begin at 2:30 and will run into the early evening. We'll be honoring our track seniors and hopeful that we will send several participants to the CIF section finals. For softball, the Lady Raiders finished in second place in a very competitive tri-county conference. The Lady Raiders qualified for the CIF playoffs and will find out their first round opponent tonight. The Raiders are looking forward to making a nice playoff run. For swim, both the boys and girls Raiders swim teams won the TCC championship this year. This marks back-to-back championships, so I guess they three-peated, for the Raiders. Today, the girls swam in their CIF section finals meet, which I think is still going on, and the boys will swim tomorrow. For boys tennis, the Raiders sealed their third consecutive Tri-County Conference championship. Over the past few weeks, the Raiders have been competing in the CIF team tennis playoffs. In the first round, the Raiders defeated Los Baños, 7-2. The Raiders followed it up with an equally as impressive win in the second round versus Livingston. Tonight, the Raiders are taking on Manteca in the CIF Division III section finals. In terms of future events, River City will be hosting a sports information night for all incoming 8th grade student athletes on May 24th at 6 p.m. Students and parents will be introduced to the River City Student Athlete Handbook and have the opportunity to meet RC coaches and representatives of the RCHS Athletic Boosters. The event will run from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Well done. Next, we have the WTA report with Don Stoffer.
Good evening again. I would like to thank the district for supporting and promoting the May 1st event where we welcome students and families to our schools. I know I had a good time. I was passing out donuts in the River City parking lot. And from the feedback I've received from others, I believe it was the same type of feeling all across the district. I hope many of you saw the recent article in EdSource, which discussed restorative practices. It reported that a recent survey of teachers found that 9 out of 10 teachers felt they need more training in restorative practices. We know it's easy to lower the suspension rate. The hard part is to provide the support for dealing with kids who are acting out of class and on campus. There are multiple programs out there. I'm hoping we can see a comprehensive commitment to a program next year in Washington Unified, and I'd like to also see something in our LCAP for this year. Thomas Friedman, in an op-ed piece in yesterday's New York Times, said in regards to young people that self-motivation to learn and keep learning becomes the most important life skill. As we move forward with our new curriculum rollouts, I am reassured by the language I keep hearing from our ed services leaders, specifically that the textbooks and other curricular materials we use are tools and not ends in and of themselves. And I say this because encouraging self-motivation to learn and keep learning is not found in a textbook. But they are principles we can support as educators and as we incorporate more critical thinking and investigation into our classrooms. Finally, Friday the 19th, Washington Unified will be celebrating staff at Rayleigh's Field. On the same day, WTA will be celebrating our educators from 4 to 6 p.m. at Streets of London. All of you are welcome. I hope you can make it as a prelude to the Rayleigh Field event. But actually, one more thing I want to say. I'm thank and feel good that Jackie Wong is feeling better tonight, and I'm hoping hoping we can all stay well and avoid the norovirus. Okay, thanks.
There finally aren't tissues all over up here, I will say that, which is nice. Okay, that takes us to the CSEA report, and Kimmy Gibson.
Good evening. I just wanted to let you know I'm standing in for Ray Tolbert tonight as he's working a field trip. The updates are that the district has been served with an unfair practice charge resulting from the lack of completing negotiations, just as we had advised the board would happen if a position of the registrar at River City High School was approved. This is a direct transfer of duties from the student records secretary position, which had been at River City High School since the beginning of time. All that should have been done was to negotiate a name change if the district really felt it was necessary to be in line with the job title at other high schools. We would like to bring to your attention that we have noticed that a lot of work is being contracted out and should not be, as we have staff at the district that can do this work and it is within their job description. Yesterday, numerous members from CSCA and the district participated in a webinar about employees being able to participate in state disability insurance rather than having to purchase individual disability coverage, which is very expensive and limits which employees can have it based on their hours of their contracts and their age. By participating in state disability, everyone would pay the same percentage based on their pay scale, as well as their hours worked, and every classified employee would be able to participate regardless of their daily or monthly hours within their contract, as well, there is no cutoff for coverage based on your age. If you are working and paying into state disability, you are eligible to draw from it. We look forward to continuing this research on the matter for our members and would like to thank the district for investigating this matter with us and considering it as something better for our classified employees. Since our CSCA Chief Job Stewart met a short while back with the superintendent and then with the assistant superintendent of HR, he would like you to know that the biweekly HR meetings have finally become more productive, and we'd really like to thank you. It helps things move along. Since the discussion with the HR superintendent and the HR personnel concerning how long it was taking the district to post vacant classified positions on EdJoin and throughout the district, the pace has picked up nicely, and we would like to really appreciate that as well. And we definitely want to give a big handout and a thank you to all of you, and especially Scott, who worked so hard with us. And this is on behalf of the staff and students for the new school buses. They are appreciated. On May 21st, 2017 is the beginning of Classified Employee Week. We will be having a pizza party on May 23rd at Mountain Mike's Pizza on Harbor Boulevard at West Capitol, beginning directly after our monthly chapter meeting. We would like to invite the members of the Cabinet and Governing Board to stop by after 5:30 p.m. and join us for a while and help celebrate the important part classified employees play in our educational system. Thank you.
Sorry.
Kimmy, oh, sorry.
Yeah, what date was that again?
The 23rd, 5:30.
And Kimmy, I have a quick question as well. Do you know if we're going to do the job shadowing again this week with CSCA? I don't know if we handle that in the district office or how that's handled, but I haven't heard anything.
I have not heard anything from Ray, if Mike
Okay.
knows.
So the HR department will be coordinating that early next week to get everybody set for that week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you know what that is, Trustee Wong? So what we've done in the past is staff members can job shadow a classified employee. And so it's great when the board can get involved in that too and walk in our staff's shoes and see what they do. Okay, thank you for that. That takes us now to public comments. I do have 4 public comments. I have some patient kids in the back too. So one is Samantha Stout. I'd like to welcome up.
Hello. I'd just like to speak about a little bit of background of agriculture and my decisions and life now that I'm in FFA. So, civilization began with agriculture. When our nomadic ancestors began to settle and grow their own food, human society was forever changed. Not only did villages, towns, and cities begin to flourish, but so did knowledge, the arts, and technological sciences. And for most of history, society's connection to the land was intimate. Human communities, no matter how sophisticated, could not ignore the importance of agriculture. In modern times, however, many in the urban world have forgotten this fundamental connection. Insulated by the apparent abundance of food that has come from new technologies, humanity's fundamental dependence on agriculture is now often overlooked. Throughout life, we make choices that define us as who we are as individuals. One choice that has defined me as an individual was the choice to join the FFA. Throughout the past year, the FFA has effectively made me the individual that I am today. The FFA's focus of premier leadership, personal growth, and career success has prepared me for my future. To me, the FFA is more than just an organization. It is a part of me that will continually affect me and my future. The FFA has defined me and prepared me for the future of my choice. Everyone decides to define themselves differently. Because of the FFA, I have now found my definition. I can now be defined by the way I talk, the way I act, and the way that I think. Through leadership training experiences, officer positions that I have held, and career development events, along with proficiency areas, they have all given me knowledge and the skills to act professionally. Time away from home, which effectively took me out of my comfort zone, enabled me to realize what's important in life, what values to uphold, and what dreams to embrace. The FFA has networked me with new friends, colleagues, teachers, and professionals for a lifetime of success. These networks will continue to grow each year and prove its capabilities. And it is because of this connection that I've been able to better prepare myself for this future that I hold. I believe that preparation is the key to success. Through the FFA, I have now learned that by 2050, an estimated 9 billion people will inhabit this earth. While agriculturalists must double global agricultural output to provide for this population, they must at the same time reduce the inputs used for this agriculture. The future of agriculture shapes my goals and ambitions on a daily basis. State conference that I have attended with Ms. Mcallister and other FFA members helped motivate me for my future. It connected me with other great minds across our state and opened my eyes to new possibilities and opportunities. When we returned home from convention, we each signed our name individually on the charter to officially mark the beginning of West Sacramento FFA. I can now say that I have made an impact in this community by helping pave the way for the future of agriculture and education in West Sacramento, California. As an African proverb once stated, tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. Because of the FFA, I can confidently say that tomorrow belongs to me. We are the FFA from West Sacramento, California.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're next, Jennifer Mcallister.
Hello, President Kirby Gonzalez, trustees, Superintendent Luna, and school board, or cabinet members. So I'm Mrs. Mcallister, I'm the Ag Advisor, and something significant that happened this week is we had our sectional elections for YOLO section FFA, and first ever, we had Samantha run for office, and she wanted to be Sentinel, and after her speech, they slated her for vice president.
Wow.
And so she had a runoff with another student, and unfortunately, the other student won, but I was really, really impressed with her ability to speak and take on that challenge, and so I just want to publicly tell her that she's awesome. So good job, Samantha. So you can go ahead, John. I just, real quick, I want to give you a quick year in review of ag and what we've done. So we have the three-ring model, which you're going to hear about a little bit later. We have the agricultural classroom instruction, and then we have the supervised agriculture experiences where students get their hands-on experience, and we have the FFA leadership component of it. Our highlight this year was the State FFA Leadership Convention, which you guys approved, and I'm so grateful for it. I have to have a public shout out for our three chaperones, Muna Cavett and Francisco and Kelly Ramirez. So Haley, your mom and dad are awesome. We had two delegates, Ms. Quincy Gonzalez and Melina Cavett. The students attended 6 general sessions. The retiring addresses of the state officers were so inspiring. They talked about respect, integrity, forgiveness. How are you a leader? And it was really incredible. The keynote speakers, the Secretary of Agriculture, Karen Ross, was there and spoke to the students. The CEO of Disneyland came and spoke to the students. It's going to be in Anaheim next year. Just letting you know, you can be a chaperone. So there was a musician, comedian, Tim Gabrielson, and then Kenny Thomas. I think you guys have heard of him, inspirational speaker. He was Black Hawk Down, one of the he's a singer, songwriter, and he was one of our military men. Anyways, FFA the conference had 7,400 students at it. It was the largest student-led conference in the entire state history of just students. And I was so impressed and so inspired. I kid you not, from Saturday at 9:50 when we left Bright, till Tuesday at 4:15 when we rolled in, 7,400 teenagers. I did not hear one F-bomb. I mean, everything was just, but really, think about it. I mean, you go through your daily lives. Anyways, I'll stop talking now. But
It's a good note to end on.
real quick, the work that these students do with their SAEs and stuff, 4,131 hours that my 45 students put in this year in their SAEs, in their service learning hours, in their FFA activities, their meetings. It was incredible. So thank you so much for believing in us, and we're only going to get better.
Thank you so much.
I should say on my way over here, I left my girls with a babysitter who goes to school in a different district, and she was at that same conference and is in Future Farmers of America, and she said, guess what? Washington Unified was there, and she was just as enthusiastic as you, and I said, oh, they're the best kids. You should be friends with all of them. So people are noticing that you are there in other districts, too. Thank you. All right, that takes us to Miss Gregory. Nakiba. Sorry, Nakiba. Gregory, come on up.
All right. President Kirby Gonzalez, Superintendent, and trustees, I want to thank you for allowing me to speak on a sensitive issue. My name is Nakiba Gregory. I have taught either art or history my 17 years in the district. I feel the need to speak to the board about an issue that needs to be addressed in our schools. There are 3 distinct groups being singled out and mistreated: LGBT, Mexican immigrants, and Muslims. The district has adopted the safe haven for our students. I completely agree that this was necessary. Students should feel safe when they come to school. I believe that students who may have immigration issues do feel more safe. I believe that the declaration was meant to include other students also. Currently, my biggest concern is for our Muslim students. I have witnessed bullying against Muslim students since 9/11, and I have always dealt with it immediately. I feel the need to speak out tonight after a student of mine stated she was Muslim, but not a terrorist. I think it is very sad that an elementary student even needs to make a clarifying statement, especially when there is nothing about being a Muslim that would imply being a terrorist or not being a God-loving and patriotic person. In fact, Islam means peace. Unfortunately, this is not an isolated instance. In fact, my own daughter was afraid to bring up being Muslim in her history class in our district. I have personally witnessed many instances of anti-Muslim sentiment and have been told by students and parents that this is an ongoing issue, maybe even more pronounced this year. I'm speaking out at their request. Other students are being bullied or worse during recess. Islam embraces Judaism and Christianity. I don't know a single radical Muslim. There is no reason for Islamophobia. Perhaps I am sensitive to the issue. When my student, who was so afraid to be acknowledged for being Muslim and declared she was not a terrorist, I wanted her to feel safe and declare that I too am a Muslim and I am not a terrorist. I'm Native and a Muslim, although visually I appear to be neither. I'm taking a risk by standing by my beliefs on a public forum, even with the risk of exclusion. Those that knew me prior to 9/11 know I am Muslim, but just a handful in the district since. I've kept my private beliefs separate from my professional life, but when I see and hear elementary students being mistreated, I must speak out. I believe that the time has come for us to create a diverse group who will talk to address the issues and can help to change the treatment of Muslims and other persecuted groups in our district. I know parents and students who would like to be part of this group to create awareness, cultural sensitivity, and educate our community. I ask that the board make a recommendation to create such a group so that all students can feel safe at school, because students who feel safe at school learn.
Thank you so much for coming up, for sharing your heart with us. And I think I can speak for the board when I say this is a board that absolutely supports every student, every staff member feeling safe on campus. And I sincerely hope that any students that you were speaking with are also, that message is being relayed to the principals and to others so that we can all step in and support them immediately, because we are not okay with that.
No.
Thank you. Okay, and I see many of us taking notes too. Okay. All right, that takes us to Kimmy Gibson.
I am here tonight simply to serve a legal claim against the Washington Unified School District pursuant to directions contained in a letter that I received from Attorney Marie Nakamura, counsel for the Washington Unified School District, dated April 11, 2017. Ms. Nakamura was explicit that I must use this form. I am sorry it is all coming to this and will waste a lot of district time and funds. It was I who was approached by the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and asked to reach a settlement with the district. I approached no one. I am hoping the governing board will show good faith in his actions by following through and stop the continual flow and waste of district funds for legal fees, as well as stopping the personal harm that is being caused each and every day by allowing this type of harassment and disparate treatment to continue. The time has come to put the fire out instead of adding charcoal to it, and that's all I'm asking the district to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have our board comments, and we have Board Trustee Wong.
On a lighter note, thank you for your well wishes. I am no longer sick. And so, for those of you who were here earlier, I was taking care of my daughter, and so may have had a stomach bug, which may or may not have been part of the CDC notice. So, in any case. Also, I wanted to know, thank you, Nakiba, for sharing. I remember being a refugee kid right after a very, very interesting war. That was an issue then, and and kind of this year, it's kind of come up a lot for my children as well. And so, I mean, I wouldn't, I really do second kind of the idea of what the district is doing in terms of implicit bias training all across the way, and how we're, I think I've been pretty consistent about community engagement and how we're doing that well in our LCAP process or otherwise, how we're incorporating the conversations about what restorative justice is, restorative justice practice, and hopefully incorporating that in our MTSS kind of investments, which is in our strategic plan, right? So incorporating implicit bias training, restorative practices, and that's where I'm hopeful that some of that will come out in terms of our long-term goals of making all of our families feel safe. Muslim, LGBT, Mexican immigrants, all immigrants, people who may not be mainstream. So I really just really moved by that, because that was something that I fought as a child growing up in a mainstream society, not being like everybody else. So with that said, I don't have a lot to report back because I was a little bit bedridden. I did, however, was able to attend the top 10 senior dinner last Friday at the Spaghetti Factory with a couple of other board trustees, and that was really inspirational to hear the teachers and the students' speeches about kind of their journey and where they're headed next. So that was really exciting for me. And of course, last night was Southport's open house, and I spent some time visiting my classrooms, our classrooms at Southport, as I look at the new future of Principal Ainsworth, and just really inspired with all the hard work that all of our teachers have put in, and across the district. When I went to open house before at a couple of schools, just really inspired at the dedication and love that they put into kind of our kids in their classrooms every single day, and then how the administration and classified staff have supported them in being able to kind of thrive as teachers. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. So that's all for me. Yeah.
Board Trustee Akala.
Thank you. April 29th, I attended Bridgeway Spring Fling with Superintendent Luna and board members Pizzotti and Kirby Gonzalez. It was an outstanding event and a great success. Board member Kirby Gonzalez told everyone it was my birthday, and everyone sang happy birthday to me. Bridgeway's TA also took turns spinning me around on the dance floor. That was very memorable. Probably one of the best birthdays I've had. I also attended the River City Top 10 Seniors with Superintendent Luna and board members Pizzotti and Wong at the Spaghetti Factory. It was so inspiring to hear River City teacher stories about these outstanding students and their dedication to their studies. The students also praised their teachers for the tremendous mentoring and their encouragement that provided them in their academic journeys. On May 1st, I attended the Excellence in Education Awards with board members Kirby Gonzalez and Cruz and Superintendent Luna. Our board member, Cruz, is a member of the Yolo County School Board Association, and she arranged for our culinary students under the direction of the WSD's Carrie Pina to provide the food for the reception. It was excellent, and our students received a standing ovation. Congratulations also to all our wonderful WSD staff who received awards for their excellence in education. And board members, next year I'm hoping that we have resolutions recognizing Americans who have contributed to social justice and fought for civil and human rights. It's important to recognize the diversity of individuals who have fought to make our country one of equality and opportunity for all. And some of these leaders and role models that I think we should honor are Martin Luther King, Cesar Chavez, Harvey Milk, Yuri Kochiyama, Valerie Kaur, who's the Sikh activist, and Keith Ellison, the first Muslim congressman from Minnesota. So I hope we will do this next year, maybe on a monthly basis, honor some of these wonderful leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Vice President Pizzotti.
One of the problems and drawbacks of going second to the last in these announcements, everybody else explains things that I got to do with them. So I can't say it. I did it, including this. So I would first like to say I am totally amazed at some of our seniors, especially, our student board member here. When I went to the top 10 senior night, I got to see how some of the teachers introduced the student, and then the student would speak about what they plan to do and so forth in the future. And I got to hear more personal stories about the student, not just about the academic side, but then you get to hear about what they plan to do. What are some of the things that they've done? Many of them were in athletics and carried, 4.0s and above, as well as, their interest in engineering and technology and robotics and things like that. So I just want to say every time I hear about some of our students and what schools they were going to, they're all UC schools or private institutions that are just phenomenal institutions, I'm always floored. Yeah, I knew the kind of student I was. And so I am always impressed by those that were, able to achieve much better than I. So congratulations, Vikram. You're welcome. I also got to go to the Bridgeway Island PTO local taste night with, again, all the trustees here, and saw some familiar faces that are in the crowd as well. So thank you. It was a great event. There was, wonderful food and, dancing and bands and everything. It was such a wonderful event. I'm really impressed by everything that the PTO did for the school there. Also, last night I was attending the Bridgeway Island open house, and the teachers, they really stepped up their game. They made some of the displays or not displays, but showcase some of the kids' works that they've done throughout the year, and really went above and beyond decorating their classrooms, and then getting food trucks to be there. This was a really good job in putting on a show for our parents to see the kind of work that our kids are doing and the kind of jobs that our teachers and our classified staff are doing to make sure their kids are getting the best education possible. So thank you very much. It's amazing. And then I also wanted to say, in my private life as a real job, 9-to-5 job, I'm a lobbyist. And so a lot of times I have the opportunity to sit in committees and in the legislature and watch legislation, pass, and I can monitor certain things. And I was just, I happened to watch a bill going through the Assembly Judiciary Committee. And I just wanted to say thank you to CTA and California School Boards Association and CSEA for all supporting a bill that I personally did not speak on behalf of the board, but I personally think is a very good idea. And it is a bill AB 1478 by Assemblymember Reggie Jones Sawyer. And basically what the bill does is it expressly states that charter schools and entities managing charter schools would be subject to the Ralph M. Brown Act. And any charter school that is operated by an entity governed by the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act, in which case it would be subject to the Bagley-Keene Act. Also, charter schools under this bill would be subject to public records requests. So I just think that's a very fair and it's very fair, and it's something that I think is a long time coming and should happen since they're receiving taxpayer funds. So anyway, I just wanted to make that public statement that I was really happy to see that CTA was there, CSEA was there, and CSBA was supporting this bill. So thank you.
Thank you. I love open house. It's just my favorite time of the year. I love going to all the schools and walking in the rooms because you see the magic from the outside, right? When you walk in a room that's not your own, you get to see the parents connect with the teachers and the students, and it's just incredible. And this year I was heartbroken because my own students, my classroom, had open house the same night as many of our schools. And so that was hard. I loved being where I was. It was special, but I miss being here. And so I was very thankful that I got to sneak in to my daughter's classroom all by myself. They let me in, and look through the room before open house started with no one there. And there was something special about sitting in a room and reflecting and seeing all that's been done in just quiet. And it was really special to reflect there. And so, yes, thank you to all of our staff. This is a hard time of year because we're so busy. We are so busy this month, working hard, getting ready for the end of the year. And so thank you for all that you're doing for the staff, for principals, and we appreciate you. And it's a really magical time to see all the growth that has happened this year as we get our kids ready for next year too. One thing that I have never attended before, and I was sort of blown away, and I want to recognize our kids, was Yolo County Farm Bureau Education Corporation has a day out in the field, and they have an art contest. Put it right in front of me for just a minute. And so they recognize students from all over Yolo County. And so, I wanted my daughter to do this herself. And we went and we visited a farm, and we looked at the tractors, and she drew a picture of it, and we submitted it. And sure, so she was recognized, but sure enough, we get there, and it's a really big deal. There's kids from all over our district, and they have framed pictures, a ribbon this big, which is now hanging on our refrigerator, and it was just really incredible. And so I wanted to name the students that were recognized. My daughter Addison, but then Gonzalez, but then we had Logan LeBarrett from Stonegate Elementary. Miss Tran is his teacher. Anam Adil from Elkhorn Village. His teacher, Miss Vaquez, was there as well. We had Olivia Wu from Stonegate Elementary School. And then one of the first place winners in 5th grade was Ava Johnson with her whole family from Bridgeway Island Elementary in Miss Struthers' class. So it was pretty special and a nice surprise to see so many kids honored. So those of you who are out there who see this little flyer come home in your folders, think about having your kids submit, because it was pretty special. Also, I was attending History Day, which I know I've talked about a few times, but I'm just going to keep talking about it because it's so special. And so I was attending History Day, National History Day for California, one as a teacher because my students went to state, but also as a judge. And so I got to see some of the things that students are doing from all over the state, and it's so spectacular. And there was not a single student, not one, from all of Yolo County. And so I really hope that we can find a way to have Yolo County represented, because it's spectacular for kids to participate in this program. They have the option of going to nationals if they win state after sixth grade, 6th to 12th grade. 4th and 5th grade can compete up to state. And it is the ultimate in historical investigation. And I think about like one of our teachers who is recognized tonight, Stephanie Kugler, because I know she does a lot of work with the UC Davis History Project. You walk in her room and it just oozes, primary sources and history. And this is a great fit for our kids and would be a great way to be recognized on a state level. I was very thankful to join the superintendent's student advisory group with River City high school students and had a great time. They were the most candid group that I've ever met with. And so it was nice to step in and have a little glimpse of the conversations that go there. So thank you for inviting me to that. I also want to thank staff for the work that they've done with working very closely with the county, with the health advisories that are going out and making sure our rooms are clean. They made sure that even the disinfectants that are being used in our classrooms right now, that they are making sure that they can fight these viruses going around. So thank you to staff for all of that work and just being very transparent and open with families. And Let's see, I also talked with the West Sacramento Foundation, and I know that they're going to be talking with our staff as well about many of our schools participate in their raffle they do. It's a $10 raffle, and the school or organization keeps $9, and $1 goes back to the foundation. And they talked about ways that they could connect, because they're realizing when they look over who is participating in this program that it's maybe not equitable across our district. So that's something that we can start thinking about and making sure that we're helping folks and supporting folks if they want to participate with that. And then the color run was also fabulous. It made me think of the Bridgeway Gala, the color run, and the things that our families do to just make school such a special place. We are very, very lucky to be in a community where we have the support of our families. And so I want to thank them for that. And you didn't mention that the band that played was Mr. Knepp, a first grade teacher. Our teachers are fabulous in the classroom, but fabulous and entertaining outside of the classroom as well. So thank you to them. And then I did have a phone call, so hopefully one of you are doing this, or if not, we can connect, from Senator Pan's office. They're recognizing some of our students next Wednesday, and unfortunately, I'm running a writing event somewhere else, and I can't be there, but I'm hopeful that we have a board trustee who can be present for that. Perfect, good, thank you. Okay. So Superintendent Comments. Superintendent Linda Luna.
Thank you, President Kirby-Gonzalez, Board of Trustees, staff, and guests. This evening, my update's a little bit of where I've been, some celebrations, and then also some of the work that is coming down the pike will be in front of the board for review and approval. I, too, had a really, really nice time at the Bridgeway Island PTO fundraiser. In my previous district, every school had one of these evening galas, and so it's always just nice to be with the parents as adults, without kids, so that we can enjoy adult company. And it just was just a very relaxing time, but really the theme of that whole evening is that everybody was there to support the children of the school. And everybody had one thing in common, and that was their children. And so it's always really nice to be together that way. I also attended, for the first time here in Washington Unified for me, the top 10 seniors. And Vikram, congratulations. The top 10 seniors out of 400, over 450 students, you've got top 10 in GPA and their accomplishments and their studies. And here we have one of our board members for that. I think probably the most endearing moment of that evening was to listen to the stories that the teacher said about each student. And because it wasn't, like Trustee Pizzati said, it wasn't just about their academics. We all know that they're good students. But what was it that made them special? What was it that made them unique? And what I really loved was that it's exactly what we need in education, that we all long for, and that is the connection of teachers with students. And you could see that along all of these top 10 seniors' journeys, teachers have made those personal connections to help their success. And so, yes, they are all college-bound. And many, I heard a couple of students are going to UCLA. Many are going to UC Davis. I think I heard San Diego State. And so, Vikram, where are you going?
I'll be attending UC San Diego.
UC San Diego. So I just, it was a really special evening. And just a shout out to the River City High School staff that specifically mentored the students and wrote their story to honor them. It was really special. I attended the musical once on this island, and I was just blown away. I love these things because I also did this in high school. I was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, and this is the stuff that kids remember about school. And it's not just about performing, it's about memorizing lines, it's about expression, it's about language, it's about speaking, it's about the acting, right, of becoming somebody else and portraying that. It's just amazing. And our kids did a really fantastic job. And I have to give a shout out to their director, Christopher Hanks, who was just on the side, just supporting the kids, working the sound, working the lights, making sure everybody was good to go. And there were other teachers there that were supporting them on their own time just to get this off the ground. And it was very student-led and driven. So shout out to River City on that. The bike to school day at Bridgeway Island was huge. It was huge. It was like blocked traffic to get the kids really thinking about better health and wellness by biking to school or walking to school versus all the congestion of cars and parents dropping their kids off. And so kudos to Bridgeway Island for doing this annual event. And thank you also to Mr. Marvelli, Mr. Marvelli and also Mrs. Sutton from the culinary program, they are asked a gazillion times to be everywhere because we love them so much. We love their program so much. And so they led off the parade, and it was a very cool morning, very, very cool. We celebrate and value our teachers this week. It's not just one day, but I really love this week of California Teacher of the Day, which is always the second Wednesday of May. And we just want to give a shout out to them. And I've seen some pictures where other people are celebrating their teachers in many different ways. So we have PTOs doing special things each day of the week at some schools. Our administration specifically calls out to cater things in. I mean, it's golden for teachers to be able to sit without being interrupted and having a really good hot meal that they themselves didn't have to prepare, right? That's golden time right there. So we just love our teachers. And I thought back about my teachers and all that they have done for me to be here to stand before you today. I was assigned to go to Southport Elementary for open house. So previously, a few weeks ago, I was assigned to Westmar Oaks, and we saw this great video, right? So at Southport, my experience of open house was a very different experience that I've ever had. And I got to tell you, I left almost in tears, because the open house wasn't about displaying all the student work. I ended up going to the classes where they don't have just the 36 or, not 36, but 32 kids or the 24 kids. I went to the classes where kids flow through during the day. So in other words, I have multiple groups and multiple grade levels of kids. So this particular classroom that I went to, I gave a shout out to Gina Flint. She was talking to her parents as the English learner specialist. And if you just kind of take a look at the picture, the table there displays the kind of classroom setting that she's providing for her kids. It's not a textbook. What it is meaningful thematic learning for our English learners to build their literacy skills in speaking. And you see there in the background, there is a video playing. If we can't bring the kids to go deep sea diving, then you can bring it into the classroom through technology. So those are the things that our English learners are experiencing with this particular teacher. So we shout out to Gina Flint. And then I went, here's another board. I really wanted to talk about this, and that it's very academic as well. And that's what our English learners need, is that academic conversation. It's so intentional in that room, and that's why we see so much progress in that from our English learners at that particular school. I went next door to Mrs. Wasserman's room, and this is where I almost lost it here, because she's talking to a family here. And this particular family could not stop saying thank you enough. This family, this is their daughter that has had Mrs. Wasserman now for 2 years. And in the 2 years, she has brought her up to grade level reading. That's the story of why we do what we do. where kids become successful because the intimate classroom settings that Washington Unified is investing in addition to regular classroom instruction. And then the teacher went on to say that there are five families that came to open house and specifically said, if it wasn't for your class and your small group instruction, our kids would not be reading today. That's the additional time. That's the additional effort that our teachers at every single one of our schools is doing to catch our kids up to speed so that when they get to high school, they're either going to become a Vikram of a top 10 senior, or they're going to become one of the seniors who are going to get a scholarship to go to college, like River City had celebrated on May 1st. Well, there are many opportunities when we are able to catch kids outside of the classroom and bring them up to speed. So this was the heartwarming story of why we do what we do. So I should have ended on that. So I didn't plan my slides very well, evidently. So I did want to give an update to our community about what we're doing in terms of the norovirus. And so we have been in strong collaboration with our Yolo County Public Health Department. And that's important because we are not making our decisions ourselves. We are taking our lead from our county, who is leading this charge for Yolo County in terms of how to address this and get this in control. So in our schools, what we are doing and what we want our parents and our public to know is we are sending communications as we get them from our county. So we want you to be connected to our constant contact, to all of our school and district websites. We'll always have the most recent update for our public. Also, our school and district Facebook pages will also share the links of the most recent update. And I know our principals are also sending out what we call parent robocalls or parent links, so that whenever we give an update, our parents will either get a phone call or a text or something of please check the most recent update. Just two things that the county is really focused on, and that is wash your hands with soap and water. The hand sanitizers are not necessarily known to help with viruses. They smell good, and they're good like when you're going to eat in a restaurant and you don't have access to soap and water. But in terms of the illness here, we're talking about washing your hands with soap and water regularly throughout the day. And the second most important thing that's the hardest in all of this when we have a sickness going around, and that is when you're sick, stay home. And that's really hard for adults, right? So when you're sick and you have symptoms, you stay home. But in addition, what the county is asking is that in order to not spread this more, once your symptoms are gone, to stay home for an additional 48 hours without symptoms, because the virus does continue to be in your body. So those are probably the most important items for all of us that live here in Yolo County to know and to practice. I will say this one thing, that Washington Unified School District, while we do have some cases, our average daily attendance is exactly the same as it was last year at this time, without any illnesses that are reported like this. So our average daily attendance is very high, ranging from 93% all the way up to 97%. And River City High School actually had the highest attendance rate yesterday. So going on just quickly for our LCAP stakeholders, I want you to know that people are working hard on preparing the LCAP to bring to the board and for a public hearing in June. So if you haven't already taken the survey, there was a survey that went out through Constant Contact and on district website and school websites for people to take the survey. And it's a very, very simple survey. And this is how most school districts are handling, trying to get feedback. And so the survey was available to parents, community members, staff. Anybody really could have taken it. My brother in Hong Kong could have taken the survey. So the questions were very basic for some basic feedback, and it had to do with all of the goals that are in our LCAP. And the first one in our LCAP is about our students being college and career ready. The second one is about the schools providing a safe and nurturing environment Thirdly, it's about engagement in the students' learning. In other words, we want to know, parents, do you feel welcome? Do you feel engaged in your students' learning? We also ask questions about the variety of learning experiences outside of just the reading, the writing, the math, the PE, because we are investing in our LCAP in visual and performing arts and other types of electives like MESA and AVID, all of those special programs. We want our parents to be aware of that they are there for them. And lastly, it's about access to textbooks, which is a state priority for every single school in the state of California, is to make sure that every student does truly have access. So want you to know that also the parents or community members had also a box to be able to give feedback on how we could improve in each of those areas. So they could also write some text and some suggestions, and we will include that in our LCAP. First of all, I want to say that there's a wrong date on here, and that is our professional learning day is not going to be June 1st. It's Friday, June 2nd. So June 2nd, June 2nd, June 2nd. So we're really excited about this, and it's because it's a full day for all of our certificated staff and administration to come together for a day of learning. And we just let our hair down, come in our jeans and T-shirts, and this is our day to be together and to learn together, to laugh, to celebrate an ending of a successful school year. So it's going to be held at the River City campus, and I would just invite any board member at any time of the day to come by and stop in, because there's going to be some very serious learning going on. So our professional learning day starts early in the morning with breakfast, and our food services is helping us out with that. They're preparing everybody's favorite of breakfast burritos, and so we're excited to start feeding at 7:15 in the morning, and then our first session begins at 8 o'clock. And from 8 to 12, that's going to be our biggest morning session, and everybody will be in their different either content areas or by grade levels. And so you see there in those last two boxes, those are the areas of study that will be happening on Friday, June 2nd, and we are so excited. Also, if you want to be able to, if you're working that day, trustees, and you want to come by for lunch, we're having a barbecue lunch at 12 o'clock, so if that's the time that you can get away, you got to eat. So come join us, because it's just going to be a great time. We're going to have music. It's just really going to be a special day celebrating and learning together. So we have a lot of things going on because we only have a few weeks of school left. And I had all these dates laid out, and I have them all on my calendar, so I thought, okay, how about if I categorize them? So here's an example of our district investing in the visual and performing arts, and those are all the performances that are left. Okay, so tonight during our board meeting, there was a performance going on. And so you see, there's our choices that we can go to, and we don't want to miss any because they're just outstanding, and we want to celebrate our kids. We also have some other upcoming dates, such as our Employee Recognition Awards on the 15th. Kinders Go to College Day is on May 19th, and Kinders Go to College is a really special day that happens at the Sac City campus, where this year, it's our kindergartners from Westfield Elementary that will be going to college that day. And it's going to be an exciting day. And that evening is the evening where we have the River Cats game scheduled for appreciating our employees. Again, Classified School Employees Week is the week of May 21st through the 27th. I'm looking forward to going out there. I'm not sure what I'm going to be assigned to do, but whatever it is, I just get to be there with staff, and that's all that matters to me. So I'm looking forward to my assignment of what I'm doing that week out on the field. We want to make sure we have on our calendar our graduation dates. So on May 31st, we have our you know what? I think I mixed those up. Actually, May 31st, we have Yolo High School at the Crest Theater that evening. So I'll change this before this gets up on the website. So May 31st is Yolo High School at Crest Theater. June 1st is early college prep. It'll be the last graduation called West Sacramento Early College Prep. Their graduates will graduate at the Bright CCT campus. They have a special ceremony and ceremony going on that evening, and then we will run over to the River Cats Stadium to participate in River City High School's graduation. So a lot of things happening, and it really is great to be WUSD. Thank you. Okay, so I'm really going to have to change a lot of dates. There's a lot of things going on, and so it's May 16th for the employee recognition. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask a quick question as well? Or maybe Yorgos would know, can we still take the LCAP survey? I didn't see it online. I was trying to go back and look. Is it close? Okay.
It's still available, yeah.
Okay.
Make it more prominent.
Good, because I think okay, good. A couple of us missed it, and so we will share it out. But if I feel like we're doing a pretty good job looking at everything, so we want to
great.
maybe
I think
make
it was
that
in
a little
a constant contact, one of those that went out.
Okay.
So, we can resend that out.
Perfect. Or
Absolutely.
putting it on the main site until it
Sure.
runs out. Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Perfect. Okay, thank you so much. All right, that takes us to public hearing. And the public hearing is for English Language Arts adoption for TK through 5th grade students, and Amber Lee, Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services.
Good evening, President Cruz, trustees, cabinet, and guests. It's my pleasure today to share with you some information about our TK through 5 ELA textbook adoption process. As with everything that we do in Washington Unified School District, it is grounded in our mission to be the gateway to extraordinary possibilities, and it's no exception with our textbook adoption process. This mission was forefront in our minds, really thinking about how can a textbook help develop critical thinking, problem solving, and communication skills. We have 3 objectives tonight. 1, to review the process that our teachers went through. Next, consider curriculum planning and next steps. And finally, and most importantly, listen to some amazing teachers who've been here for several hours.
Oh, sorry.
So here's the process. It was teacher volunteer, but we did it in grade level teams so there'd be equity and access across. It's really hard to have a team of 4 teachers, for example, and one has these great new curriculum materials and 3 others don't. It just doesn't allow for that collaboration that we are really known for. So grade level teams, teacher volunteer. Teachers had to pilot both publishers, not just one. You can't get up there and make a decision at the end of the day if you haven't really invested the time into getting to know both of the publishers. The teachers piloted each of the publishers for 6 weeks with a 2-week transition to kind of wrap things up, pack things up, and send it on to the next group of piloting teachers. And then we knew that it was not the most ideal time to pilot in the middle of the year. But more importantly, we knew that our students could not wait another full year without Common Core aligned resources. Our teachers could not wait another year without appropriate materials. So to kind of compensate our teachers for the extra time, we offered them optional 12 hours of extra duty pay to really take the time to get in and dig into those materials. On April 5th, our all-district collaboration day, the piloting teachers came together and they prepared presentations for their colleagues. They presented the strengths, areas of need, and possible solutions, really being solutions-oriented to their colleagues. Their colleagues then had an opportunity to add their own 2 cents if they took the time to look at the materials that are on display in the school libraries or at the district office. And then on April 19th, at our faculty meetings, each grade level did a presentation. So teachers, I have to give them so much credit. Teachers may not have even piloted, but after listening to the grade level presentation, they presented to their colleagues. And the purpose for that was for all of our teachers to see that vertical articulation, to hear what their colleagues had to say about the strengths, the areas of need, and improvement, possible solutions from TK all the way to 5th grade. Because different publishers have strengths in different grade levels. And then also on April 19th, Staff completed a Google survey using the Instructional Materials Evaluation Tool, the IMET tool, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So I just had to share and do a little shout out. Once again, our teachers exceeded expectations and totally blew me away. Here's an example of one of the grade level presentation slides that they presented to their colleagues. They included quotes from teachers. They put themselves out there and included their own work samples. They made their practice public, and it just was amazing. They put a lot of time, hours, and energy into thoughtfully presenting information to their colleagues so that we can make a recommendation to you that's going to last us for multiple years. So we piloted for K-5 2 publishers, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, Journeys, and McGraw-Hill, Wonders. The TK teachers approached me early on and said, we really want to look at a comprehensive program that's not just ELA or math, but that incorporates ELA, math, history, and science. So they looked at 3 different publishers, HMH My Big Day, Benchmark, and McGraw-Hill, Wonders. So the Instructional Materials Evaluation Tool, it was developed by Achieve the Core. It's a national tool, and it's really a comprehensive tool for evaluating the alignment of textbooks to not only the Common Core standards, but the important shifts that take place in Common Core. There's 2 sections of the IMET. One are the non-negotiables, and there's 3 non-negotiables. It really looks at text level, the complexity of it. And if you notice, if you look at 1, 2, and 3, the word that stands out is rigorous. 2 times. It calls for teachers to look at that evidence-based discussions and evidence-based writing, and looks at the material systematically build reading comprehension through listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The second area that I met is the alignment. Are the materials aligned to the standards, and do they have the right text complexity for all grade levels? Do the materials support reading comprehension? Do they support academic language and discourse? Do they build knowledge across the content areas, not just in language arts, but in science and social science? And most importantly, this is the most important one for me, I think, because it's about access. Do the materials offer the appropriate scaffolds and resources so that all of our students can access the materials? So the teachers took the survey on April 19th, and here's just some of the survey results. The blue means that overall, with those non-negotiables, those 3 previous questions, did each publisher meet the criteria or does not meet? So blue is met, red is not met. And as you can tell, McGraw-Hill Wonders overwhelmingly, based on the teacher recommendations, met the criteria. Journeys was about 50-50, meeting and not meeting. For alignment, the 4 questions for alignment, again, McGraw-Hill Wonders, overwhelmingly, more teachers felt that this program met the criteria versus Journeys. Here's just some of the teacher comments from the survey. There was an open-ended, they asked a question, did they meet it or not meet it, and there was an opportunity for teachers to provide comments and writing. Exceeds the expectations, better organized, there was a nice balance between fiction and nonfiction, stories were richer. One of the things that stood out for our teachers is that this was the only option that offered a rich designated ELD program. And given the fact that we have almost 1/3 of our students that are English language learners, and given the fact that designated ELD is a state requirement, this was an important tool that our teachers needed to be able to help our students access the content. There's lots of conversations about engaging, evidence-based speaking and listening, and again, that last bullet point about that there was appropriate resources to help all of our student populations, our students with IEPs and our students, English learners, access the core materials. I want to point out the second bullet point. We included all comments, or not all comments, but I gave a nice selection of comments. And one of the concerns that got brought up by teachers is that the writing component at some grade levels was not as rigorous or did not offer a lot of variety. But they talked a lot about the different level text that Wonders offered and the variety of resources to help students with reading and listening and speaking. So our recommendation, if you haven't already guessed, our piloting teachers have recommended McGraw-Hill Wonders. Wonders has 3 components that we are recommending for adoption. For K-5, the core is McGraw-Hill Reading Wonders. For TK, for the core, it's World of Wonders. And we also adopted, or recommending for adoption, for intervention, the Wonder Works. And the superintendent's update, she shared with you Deanna Wasserman's intervention program. And currently, right now, we don't have a consistent curriculum or program that we're using. Our teachers are having to make it up. And so this would give them the resources that they need to be able to further reach our students' needs. In addition, it'd be something that's consistent across all sites. So what's next? And yes, the textbook is not the curriculum. It is a resource. There is not a magic bullet that's going to meet the diverse needs of all of our students. If you're looking for one thing, you're not going to find it in a textbook. Because you know the one thing that's going to help our students? It's the teacher. The teacher is the greatest determining factor for student success. Vendor-created textbooks, or curriculum, as I like to call them, designs contents separately from the student. McGraw-Hill Wonders has some great resources, and it's a wonderful textbook. But the people that designed and created Wonders, they didn't come to West Sacramento and get to know our students and the unique needs that they have. So with that, we have to do some curriculum planning. Through a rigorous curriculum design process, teams of teachers will come together and collaboratively create units of study aligned to the standards, but most importantly, taking into consideration the unique and diverse needs of our students. We're going to help teachers find resources to fill in the gaps where the textbook may lack. So for example, the writing, we're going to have to really do some work in writing because that's a gap that the teachers feel is absent in our textbook that we're recommending for adoption. So here's the rigorous curriculum design process. We're going to prioritize and unpack the standards because it is no way humanly possible unless, and we could do this, extend the school day or the school year. Unless we do that, there is no way that teachers can accurately and adequately teach all of the grade level standards so that students master them and have the skills that they need. So we have to prioritize based on the blueprints and based on our student needs. Then we have to design grade level or content level units of study, laying the foundation for an articulated vertical curriculum from TK through 12. And then once you have the curriculum in place, you have to know if students are meeting the standards, and if they do meet them and they're exceeding them, what do we do next? So you need to have formative assessments, performance tasks, and data analysis. And most importantly, we have to create a system where we can collaboratively problem solve and work together when we identify students who have met the standards, what do we do next, and students who haven't met the standards. So you've heard enough from me. I want to just first, again, call up our 3 teachers who have volunteered their time. They piloted both curriculum. They've been here for a long night, and they have to get up really early and teach tomorrow. And I just want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for their dedication and for their passion. And so I'm going to turn the microphone over to them.
All right, good evening, board, cabinet, and public. We're going to introduce ourselves. My name is Jessica Donaldson. I'm a kindergarten teacher at Bridgeway Island.
Good evening. I'm a kindergarten teacher at Southport. My name is Nicole Latimer.
And my name is Stephanie Nunez. I'm a 4th grade teacher at Elkhorn Village.
So first, Nicole and I are going to go over, and we both piloted the kindergarten curriculum. We're going to go over some things that we really enjoyed about the program. Nicole's going to start.
So something that I really liked was the teacher edition. It was very user-friendly. Anybody could open that book and follow the thematic units and the objectives for each lesson. And then something that was really great for me is that there was half-day suggestions, and so for kindergarten that worked well, and it gives you a timeline and an approximation of how many minutes each thing should take. So I really like that.
At the beginning of the year, and I know it's for kinder and first grade, I'm not sure, second and above, there's a Start Smart for the first 3 weeks. It's an introduction to the program. It helps with setting up routines, which is huge for kindergarten. It's done through whole group and lots of modeling. These lessons include things such as letter recognition, a few sight words, nursery rhymes, listening comprehension. It's just a great start for the program.
The sight word component for this program is age appropriate, and there's 40 words, and they give you the opportunity to build your own word bank. So that's a feature that we really like.
At the beginning of the weekly lessons, the theme and essential questions are clearly stated. Each theme also integrates both science and social studies into the lessons. Oh, sorry. And I really liked that the program had visual vocabulary and retelling cards. The kids really liked them. The visual vocabulary cards included pictures there were pictures on the front, and on the back it had definitions of the different vocabulary, examples of the words in a sentence, questions to ask the students, ideas for partner talk. The retelling cards my students really loved. It was a great guide to help in retelling the stories. They used it during workshop time where they could use them with their partner or their classmates to also retell the stories on their own.
There were leveled readers with running records in them, so that was very convenient for teachers. And then there was just a vast variety of texts that were age appropriate. The kids were super engaged. They were excited every day to read their books. And so that was really exciting just to see their engagement and their joy from the materials.
And along with the different types of text, there was also interactive read-aloud cards. It included a variety of genres. The cards also included reading comprehension questions and suggestions for ELD.
And then, so the last part, it was touched on a little bit in the PowerPoint, but the ELD had its own teacher workbook, and it's easy to use, so that was a really important part.
From the 4th grade perspective, I would like to talk about the two things that really sold the curriculum to me, and not only to me, but to all of the Elkhorn population that piloted. Every single one of us preferred Wonders, and also all 4th grade teachers from the entire district that piloted also preferred Wonders. So I would like my voice to be heard from all of their perspectives as well. I have a passion for teaching and to provide access to the curriculum for all of my students. And being at a Title I school, sometimes there are more gaps between populations. And for me, there was no doubt that we have a superior program here with Wonders, and it's because of all of the access that is supplied to the students in so many different ways. Even the assessments themselves are pre-differentiated for teachers, where we can give approaching standards, or we can give on-level standards if we do have struggling populations, so we can see if they actually get the skills. Above that, there's clear small group instruction that encompasses all skills, from spelling to grammar to the comprehension. So you can really facilitate that gap that you have in your classroom, because real life, we have gaps, and we need to make sure that we give access to all of our students. Above that, from a school that has 60% ELD, we need to make sure that we have curriculum that's going to be there for them. And the ELD rotation is leveled, and it has scaffolded passages that relate to the theme, and everything is so intertwined beautifully that it really provides access. And I could tell you just about one unit that I taught about inventions and how accessible it was to all students, because not only did it talk about Ben Franklin, but it went into Stephanie Kevlar. So we see a female inventor, Stephanie Kwolek, and she invented Kevlar. It also went into George Carver, so we saw African Americans, and into Ochoa, who was an inventor that is a Hispanic astronaut. So we got to see this all-encompassing unit where they really got to see someone like them that was a part of it. And every single unit seemed like that to me. And that, it buys in student involvement. They want to be a part of it. The Lexiled readers were also great, and it was the same text, so you don't have that book that looks like it's easy. They all have the same title. So it gives access to all students and makes them feel included. And above that, the online access, I can't even tell you how superior it is. Sorry if I'm talking fast. But the technology is the one thing that just hit the ball out of the park, because not only was the TE accessible online, it was easily maneuverable for teachers that take the time to plan. You can shrink your week to 4 days, or move it into 6 days if you need to. The story and the vocabulary already pre-assigned to your students, but you can still assign additional resources on the online resource. And the Wonders platform is just so much easier to use than Think Central, and that's what we unfortunately have for Go Math, but I don't even use it really. I used Wonders every single day, not only for my platform, but for my student platform, and they loved it. So I really am passionate. If we want a 21st century school that's really going to compete in the 21st century, we need a curriculum that has that kind of technology, and it's Wonders. Because even if you have a visually impaired student in your class, which I happen to, in Think Central, you can't even zoom in. You go to zoom in, and it like has a seizure and goes back to where it was. You can zoom in. It highlights the words for your readers. It's available in 10 languages. So obviously, it's much superior. You have pre-created lessons that are adjustable and interactive that make teachers' life easier. And being a teacher, we have a lot going on, especially when we care as much as we do about our students. The student portal itself is engaging and adaptive and very structured to make kids want to participate with it, and there was so much more buy-in. That alone is why I'm passionate here. I came ready to fight for my curriculum, and that came from the cadre that I did with Amber earlier. So she knew that I was a teacher that was willing to put my voice out there, even though I'm nervous. But I really hope you consider this because I think it can close the achievement gap for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question of the teachers for a minute that tested out this curriculum? It's just a quick question. I'm hearing all the praises of it. If you can think of any, what would the potential drawbacks would be?
Like Amber had said earlier, the writing program, I didn't feel it was developmentally appropriate for kindergarten age level, and so like she had said that we are going to have to come together and decide how we are going to create a writing program for it. I think that was one of my biggest drawbacks.
Okay.
I second that as well. The writing didn't seem like it was grade level appropriate, but we had talked within our grade level about using our writing toolkit that we already have and kind of filling in those gaps, so.
Do you have any?
Writing for 4th grade as well would be a little bit of a weakness, but there are ways that you can scaffold that.
Okay.
For instance, when you assign for instance, the grammar is kind of a little weak, but one of the things that I did was assign a text to the kids where they could actually go through and highlight prepositional phrases within the story. So not only is the story there able to be read to them and highlighted, they can actually use a different color highlighter than the cursor that moves across the words, and they can highlight key facts or details as well. So I found that as a way to bridge the gap too.
Okay, thank you.
Next time you're at Bridgeway or Southport or Elkhorn, I highly, highly encourage you to visit one of these ladies' classrooms because not only are they leaders at their own school, but they're also district leaders. They serve on many committees and support the work that we're doing in Ed Services, and they're amazing teachers. Any questions?
No. Answer mine.
I have one. I turned mine off. I have a quick question. The intervention guide that you talked about that folks want, would that be for, that we would look at buying as a piece of this, would that be for every classroom or would that be per grade level at a school? Would that be for like a resource teacher? What would that look like?
So the Wonders comes with a tiered program within itself. Mm-hmm. Stephanie mentioned the online curriculum. So for teachers, trying to get back, so there's a 3. So Wonders has its own intervention, like a tier 1. Okay. The Wonder Works is a tier 2 or tier 3 intervention, and currently our quote is to purchase it for our special day classes, our RSP teachers, our reading intervention specialist teachers, and then we are recommending the purchase of additional kits for perhaps those teachers that maybe have some significant gaps that go beyond a tier 1 intervention.
Perfect. Okay, good. Okay.
Good.
I would like to say, I mean, this is Teacher Appreciation Week, and it's, really late. So Jessica, Nicole, Stephanie, would you just maybe mark on this what, if you like coffee or iced tea, and I will swing by your school tomorrow and bring you some. So I'm going to give you this to write your name down, and real quick. All right. Okay, and those are my questions. So we have no public comments. Okay, we're good. Thank you again for coming. And with that, I will close the public hearing. Okay, so now we are at information discussion items. We have 01, Environmental Science. in Energy Summer Academy with Renee Collins.
Thank you. Good evening, Board President Kirby Gonzalez, Board of Trustees, Cabinet, and guests. Tonight, I have the pleasure of sharing with you, along with our instructor, Jennifer Mcallister, and our representative from Yolo County Office of Education, Deborah Bruns, is in the back to answer any questions if you might have them after the presentation. So tonight, I have the pleasure of sharing with you about another exciting opportunity for our WUSD and Yolo County youth and young adults. For the past 9 years, several county partners have come together to offer a summer environmental academy for youth at Woodland High School. And our WUSD students have traveled to Woodland to participate. For the first time, this is really exciting, for the first time with the addition of WUSD as a partner in the academy, the program will be offered in West Sacramento at the Bright Career and College Training Campus this summer. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Okay. The Environmental Science and Energy Academy is a Woodland Community College class, Ag 50. The course covers the content of an AP Environmental Science class in the context of agriculture and food production, one of the Sacramento region's key economic sectors. Students engage in hands-on learning and work experience field trips to understand the science, technology, and environmental issues related to local natural resources, agriculture, and energy. The Woodland Community College instructor for the summer course is Andrew Codd, who is also serving as the Yolo County Office of Education College and Career Program Specialist, and so he helps with a lot of our internships for some of our programs. Students will register for the class through Woodland Community College as they would for any community college course. Students who have not graduated from high school will be required to submit the high school permit to attend form signed by a parent or guardian and a designated school official. As you can see from the slide, the class will be offered from July 5th through July 27th, 3 days during the week, Tuesday through Thursday, and the Wednesdays will be set aside for field trips where they'll be taking field trips out into our community exploring the environmental science and energy topics. The Academy has been developed for students exiting 9th through 12th grades. The Ag 50 course is free to enrolled high school students. Exiting 12th graders will pay the Woodland Community College fee for the class, which is approximately $146. Students who successfully complete the course will earn 3 Woodland Community College credits, and the course is one of 4 courses that lead to a Woodland Community College Certificate for Sustainable Agriculture and Energy. So they'll be ticking one off the list here, and then future summers, they might have some of those other courses offered that work towards the certificate. So at this point, I'm going to invite WUSD teacher, Jennifer Mcallister, our agriculture teacher and a science teacher in the district, to come up and talk about her experience. She is the co-teacher for this summer's course, but she has also been involved with the Academy for the last several years. So she's going to share briefly about her experience.
So the students get bored over the summer. They're like 5 days into the summer, like, oh, what am I going to do? So this course is fantastic because it hits them right in the summer, and they get to just experience a lot of really cool things. So I don't know if this is, there we go. This is Edwin right here. And here's a couple of my other former students. We're studying biodiversity right here and biomonitoring. So we've taken water samples and we're seeing the health of the water. And this is a rice paddy. We're in a rice paddy, and it's part of the Mcgraw project, which is affiliated with UC Davis and doing studies of letting the salmon be on the rice fields during the flood stage. And then when the water recedes, the fish go back into the rivers, they go to the delta, and they're about 4 times bigger because they've fed on the rice paddies. And so the kids get to see the whole ecology, the environmental science. And so we're trying to find solutions to our problems that are real world that help us with agriculture. And the kids are making those connections. And we're out in the community. This is Capay Valley. We're eating lunch, and we got to go pick the best darn heirloom tomatoes. Holy smokes. The kids just bit right into them. They're like, why do I need a knife? And they just ate them like apples. Edwin was like, he took like 5 pounds. It was hilarious. This is the Pasco equipment measuring photosynthesis and cellular respiration. And this is us. We were planting cantaloupe, I believe. And so it was really just an awesome hands-on experience. And did you want to talk about that part? Okay, there we go.
Thank you. I'm excited about this opportunity for our students this summer because of all of the rigor and the exposure to the science and technology standards that they're going to have through this academy. So what you see up on the next slide is about a growing green internship that's offered by Center for Land-Based Learning. They will provide support for high school students in the class who are part of the Center for Land-Based Learning Growing Green Internship Program for a cohort of up to 9 students from West Sacramento. The students attend the class as part of their internship program, and the Growing Green Internship Coordinator, Karen Swan, will provide mentoring and tutoring as needed. Not all students in the class will be interns. Students will apply separately to Center for Land-Based Learning for this internship opportunity. It is a paid internship opportunity, so I believe, I'm not going to remember exactly, but it's at least $500, and I believe they also get a Google Chrome book, right? There we go. What's that? Google Chrome something. There you go. So finally, I just wanted to talk about the partners in the Academy. So the Academy's been made possible through several partners. Woodland Community College, their logo's not up there, but obviously they're a huge partner. Washington Unified School District, we are helping to assist with paying the salary of the co-teacher, Jennifer, and our district food services will be providing the meals, so we're happy about that as part of the summer meal program. Yolo County Office of Education provides support for field trips, logistics, transportation, materials, any fees for field trips, along with the City of West Sacramento. And Center for Land-Based Learning assists with a lot of the field trip design and logistics and the support for the students in the Growing Green internship. So again, we're really excited about this opportunity. Just want to get the word out. And on the very last slide, I have contact information to be able to register for the academy or to apply to the internship. So thank you. Any questions?
Well, I assume that'll be on the website as well. So then we can easily share that out and
absolutely
information.
I'll make sure that Yorgos gets all of the information. Yes.
Fabulous. So excited. I always love hearing about this stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No comments?
Good. No. Okay. Good.
So I think I'm going to be up here again, but I'll just.
Okay.
Oh
yes. For the culinary, yes. You are. O2, Culinary Arts and Farm to Fork Education, the cafe, mural at Bright College, Career and College Training. Renee Collins.
All right, so the students came up with the idea of a mural. They needed some color on our campus. It was too new and white, and they said, we need some color. So CAFE is an acronym that maybe not everybody is familiar with, but CAFE stands for Culinary Arts and Farm to Fork Education. And it was our the 2 programs associated with the CAFE programs, the Culinary Arts, and our agricultural science program, or our Farm to Fork program, that really came up with this problem, right? They had a problem. They needed some color. They wanted to build a culture around Bright. It's a newer campus still. And so we're going to just explain a little bit about the process and then show you the actual design that that the students have approved. So I just wanted to share, I'm not sure that everybody is fully aware that this year, in 2016-17, we became an official California Partnership Academy. So that's very exciting. We have 3 courses in the pathway. The first level at 10th grade is agricultural biology. The second level, Farm to Fork 1, and the capstone class, Farm to Fork 2. All of the courses are A through G approved, and all of them are part of the larger FFA program. Anytime agricultural programs are offered, courses are offered in a high school, you must enroll them in the FFA. So the students benefit from both from that piece, from that leadership piece. So we had, I think, close to 50 students enrolled in FFA this year, and we've had a very, very active officer team, which you've seen at several of our board meetings. So we're excited about that. There are, Jennifer earlier spoke a little bit to the fact that there are three kind of pillars that make up our agricultural pathway. One is the classroom and laboratory work. The other is the Supervised Agriculture Experience Program. And in this picture, you can see some of the chicks that were actually hatched out of an incubator, right? Out of an incubator. And they are going to be going home with Samantha. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Samantha, who spoke earlier and talked about how FFA was so important to her. So they are her Supervised Agricultural Experience Program. But tonight we're really talking about the FFA leadership and how they became leaders in their own right in coming up with this decision to create a mural and to solicit artists to create a mural for the Bright Campus. So at this point, I'm going to invite Jennifer back up, and she's going to talk about the design process. And then I believe she's also going to share a quick statement from our FFA president, Quincy Gonzalez, about why the mural came about.
All right. So at the beginning of school, starting this new ag program, I needed to make sure that the students had some sort of vision, and I included them in the growth of the program, because it's their program. I already have a job. You know, it's all about them and about them learning. So we took a tour of the campus. We looked at the chicken tractors, we looked at the garden beds, and we walked around, and we got to this part of this really bland wall, and Quincy saw it and went, "Mrs. Mcallister, we need a mural." So I reached out to some connections with the urban farms and got some names, and Mr. Emiliano Rosas had a connection also. So we invited these artists to come to our campus. We gave them tours. The students came and met them individually, asked them questions. They got an idea of kind of what their scope was. We asked for renderings. We picked the rendering that the students liked the best, and then we had discussions about what aspects we liked about that. So that was the process, and Ms. Quincy had this to say. So imagine that I'm younger and prettier and very vibrant. Okay, so this is from her. Bring bright to bright. In July of 2016, I had the opportunity to volunteer at a small elementary school in Orsay Valley, Costa Rica. This farm town has a population of around 4,000 people and is an hour south of San Jose, Costa Rica. It was at Escuela Calejuco, the elementary school. I spent a month volunteering at where I found the most impact of art within education. Much like Bright, the elementary school was bland and colorless. One of the projects I took on was to paint a 4-foot by 15-foot wall in one of the outdoor classrooms. This mural that 10 others and I worked on brought joy and light to the children. Every day as the students saw our progress with the mural, we saw them progress in their schoolwork. Many of these children lived in poverty, and their families were always working. School was their escape and a place where they could go enjoy their friends. I hope that we can make our school a beautiful escape for students who struggle with a home life as well. I want this mural to encourage students to be themselves and help them feel like they belong at the Bright Career and College Training Campus. I think that we brought a bit of color to Bright CCT. It will truly represent the campus and hold true to its true name, Bright. And the name of the mural is Brightness Happening.
So this is the approved mural representation. And I just want to say that over the next several weeks, we will start to see it being developed. And starting tomorrow, and then the 2 Fridays after that, we are opening the cafe for breakfast and lunch. And so we invite you to stop by and to see the progress that is being made on the mural and to enjoy the culinary delights of our culinary program. Our adult education instructor, Chef Dave, is going to be the head chef, and he is going to be working with student interns in the culinary program to be able to put on the breakfast the next 3 Fridays. So just wanted to do a quick shout out for that and link it to the beautiful things that you can see at the campus coming up. So thank you very much. Any questions?
That's great. We have one more quick shout out. Yeah. On Saturday is a Bright parking lot sale from 7 to 3, so everybody please come to Bright on Saturday.
Thank you. And this feels, it feels so good to hear these things, the last agenda items too, coming from the teachers, and this is what they wanted to see. This item coming from the students, this is what they want to see. And it's just really special to be getting that feedback and hearing from everyone of what they want. And so, and supporting that. Great. And happy Day of the Teacher to you also. And if you would like a coffee, go sign up right over there. Next is the consent agenda. And so we had P8 and P11 move to action. So can I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, so the motion was made by Board Vice President Pizzotti. It was seconded by Trustee Akala, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I too vote aye. So that takes us to action item Q1, and I do have a blue slip on this. This is approval of annual declaration of need for certificated teaching 2017 to 2018, and that's Assistant Superintendent Michael Reed.
All right, good evening again. So the request this evening is to approve an annual declaration of need for certificated teaching for the 2017-18 school year. Education Code 44300B requires a declaration of need for highly qualified teachers be made in the form of a motion adopted by the governing board of the district. At a regularly scheduled meeting of the governing board, the motion may not be part of a consent agenda and shall be entered in the minutes of the meeting. The only action required of the board is that it publicly acknowledge the annual filing of the Declaration of Need for Highly Qualified Teachers as required by the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing.
Okay, thank you very much. And then we'll go to our blue slip, and that is Don Stauffer. Okay, never mind. Can I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, so the motion was made by Board Trustee Wong. It was seconded by Vice President Pizzotti. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I too vote aye. Next, we have Q2, which is approval of the federal and state surplus property program resolution, and that is Scott Landsberger, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services.
Good evening, Board President Kirby Gonzalez, members of the board. This is pretty much a housekeeping item for you. This resolution was brought forward 3 years ago. It's a 3-year resolution, and by passing this resolution, it basically enables the district to be a recipient of donations from the federal government and or the state of California when they have surplus property. So all you're doing with this resolution is acknowledging your existence and getting yourself on file with the state. We've actually benefited from this. We've gotten computers from CalSTRS. We've gotten furniture from CalSTRS. We've gotten furniture from Department of General Services. So we actually use this quite a bit. Very, very lucrative agreement for us.
Perfect.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, and is there a second? Okay, the motion was made by Vice President Pizzotti, seconded by Board Trustee Akala, and this is a roll call vote, and we will go This time, let's go in alphabetical order of last names. So Board Trustee Akala.
Aye.
I too vote aye. Board Vice President Pizzotti.
Aye.
And Board Trustee Wong. Aye. Thank you. Okay, that takes us to P8, approval of the program agreement between Project Lead the Way and Washington Unified School District. And we had a board member pull this, and I also have a blue slip. So we'll bring up Don Stoffer.
Hello again. I had some questions, and this is, I think, more about Project Leadway as a whole, as in addition to the specific item that's on the agenda. So the funding for Project Leadway has always been something of a mystery to me as a classroom teacher and as a department chair. When I was developing budgets for the department, I always was told for the Project Lead the Way classes, oh, don't worry about them, they're all taken care of. And I would like to ask the board to have a report on Project Lead the Way, its sources of funding, its costs, the pathways that the districts are currently engaged in, and the sites that are participating in Project Lead the Way. I can say, again, from the high school perspective, I know we have a very successful biomedical pathway at the high school, and happy that I was hearing that there will be 14 sections of the biomedical sciences pathway offered next year at the high school, all 4 levels. It's a complete program, so it's exciting news because it's being implemented and is very successful. On the item specific to tonight, computer science pathway, the middle school is mentioned. So my questions on there, will it be implemented at one or more site, or only one site? Is it only a portion of the computer sciences pathway that's considered? Will there be a 9 to 12 grade course offerings somewhere down the road? Will they be at Bright, and will they be at River City? Thanks.
Absolutely, thank you. Dr. Parsons, if you would like to address any piece of that, maybe if this is the vision going, if you would like to.
I appreciate Mr. Stoffer bringing this up because this is exactly the work of the Strategic Planning Committee and our LCAP. Beginning in the fall, we will be reconvening the Educational Pathway Action Committee in order to formally look at the articulation efforts from TK through 12 and the pathways that we will be offering that will be articulated. Because we are planning on looking at our engineering program, our health occupational programs, as well as our computer sciences, and how those start at TK through 12th. So it will be presented to the board. This summer we will be looking at the strategic plan and the LCAP, and so we will have that information. But also, Ms. Collins and I would love to present to the board all the work with the pathways that we currently have at the end of the year as part of the educational services update.
Okay, wonderful, thank you.
I will also say the funding for Project Lead the Way, and we can go into this further at another time, but some of the grant funding is sunsetting, and so we've agreed to pick up the costs so we can continue some of this work we're doing with biomedical engineering and computer science.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any questions? Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, Board Vice President Pizzotti made the motion, and Board Trustee Wong made the second, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I too vote aye. All right, that takes us then to P11. And that is the approval of the contract amendment number 16, BCA Architects for the River City High School security fencing. And I know I have one blue slip. Let me look. I thought I had 2 quickly. Okay. I know I also have another one too. All right. Don Stoffer.
Hello again. I'd like to thank the district for moving forward on this very neat item. Yes. Not stated in the rationale, but a central concern of the staff and of the surveys that were conducted before the Measure V bond is the safety as it relates to the current unfettered access to the campus from the gates surrounding the school. Just wanted to state that. One of the things I've been hearing, and one of the things apparently has been transmitted to staff at the high school, is that access in and out of those gates during the day by staff people will be limited. And I just wanted, I don't know if that's just rumor or if that's really part of the plan, but I would like to know what legitimate security interests are being served by that. I know me as a classroom teacher, I've often used my prep period to go run to the store to buy things. You know, for science, I run down to Rayleigh's and get dry ice or some things like that. But there are legitimate reasons why adults who work on that campus may want to enter and leave the campus during the day. You know, even to go to lunch, for instance, you know, there's no restrictions on adult lunch. So anyway, I'm hoping in the finished design and implementation of these security gates that is not part of it. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Our other blue slip is Ray Tolbert.
Good evening, President Gonzalez, Board, Cabinet members, Superintendent Luna. Superintendent Luna, if you're looking for something to do over classified week, you can always take a ride with me to Woodland. Another thing from me personally, thank you for the buses, you guys. I just took a field trip today to San Francisco with 8th graders from Riverbank. What a nice ride, those buses. I feel like a little kid, you know, and it's like, wow, it's so pretty and so shiny, and the buttons all work and everything, and it's all shiny and everything, and air conditioning on a 40-foot bus. That was unheard of when I got into driving a school bus, so really nice. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. On the P11, it's basically just a question to myself. I know there's been a lot of items over the last year that would have to do with some contracting out, and a lot of it had to do with fencing. So the question that I would want, nothing negative about it, I'm sure River City probably needs something or it wouldn't have been brought up. But from the cost perspective and the work, the question that I want us to take away from this tonight is, we have departments, classified units that are supposed to be able to do certain jobs, some of them like fencing. So if this is a little bit out of their expertise or whatever, that's fine, but maybe it isn't. So the question is, if they're not up to the task, what can we do as a district to get our classified units up to a task? You know, what can we do to get them up for the task, educated to do it? I know some of these things like fencing is in job descriptions. So when I see how much we're spending, I think, could we do it less? You know, or do we have the capability to do it less? And could we use that funding that we're saving on more programs for the kids? I mean, I overheard tonight, there's so many good things going on in the district, fantastic things. So everybody is working together, you know. It's a proven sign. We come to the board meeting and we find that out. So basically, I just want us to take away is the question, could we do it more inexpensive? And could our classified units be able to be up for these tasks? So thank you.
I just wanted to hear this comment real quick. It may not be that that we can't do it, because I think our staff probably has the capabilities. I had a question about that earlier on in a previous board agenda item last time about some painting that needed to be done. but I don't think it's necessarily about whether we can, our staff has the capabilities or training to do it, in as much as it may be the capacity to do it. Like, our staff may be booked up already, and therefore may need to utilize additional services to help do that. But, I mean, I would ask Scott if that is something, or I would yield to Scott on his expertise as to whether or not that would be the case. But, I tend to believe that is most likely the issue, so.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that to us. And so I wonder if you have an answer for that, Mr. Landsberger, if this was looked at or if this is a different piece.
Well, I think we should be clear, the contract that you're approving tonight is for architectural design.
Thank you.
Okay.
And the architect's going to design this, take this into DSA. Our rough cost estimate for this fence work is in between $500,000 and $750,000. This will be putting in security gates that are electronically controlled, some additional welding and things that are they're above and beyond just a regular gate chain link with regular snap block. These are going to be much more extensive. Hence, Mr. Stauffer was talking about, are we reducing some of the access points to the sites? And the answer is, yes, we are. River City has too many access points. I think if you go through and you actually do the physical counts, between 26 and 32 access points to the campus. That's too many. You can't monitor that many access points. So when the final design comes out, you'll see that as they've looked at the campus, they're going to funnel staff through the points that they would normally traverse in the event of an evacuation. So you have particular routes that they have to go through when they clear for a fire or whatever event. Those are where those access points are going to be. Several of them will be double gate wide access points, such as where the bus drop-off zone is. I'm going to get the building numbers wrong, but on the far side by the music building, and then there's the next wing building, that's English gate. There's a double gate there. So they've actually spec'd some of this out a little bit already, and they're continuing to refine the plan. We'll bring it back and let the board take a look at where we're going with this before we put it out for bid. But it's really about taking a site that we know is just way too wide open. And part of the problem with it being wide open is the type of fencing that's in there in the first place. It's wrought iron fence. And it's very easy to expand bars on a wrought iron fence. So they're looking at the best way to make the site more secure, and the first way to do that is to limit the amount of points you can access the campus.
Okay. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
And I know that was a piece that we've been hearing, a lot before the bond was passed, and that people wanted gates. Staff wanted gates. They wanted to feel safe. They wanted to be able to get in and out. But the in and out part was on there too. So I'm looking forward to seeing that plan and what that looks like, because I do know that if you're, the way the parking lots are working, I'm thinking of myself even when I visit the campus and where I park when I have a certain event and how I might walk on. And so I think that's an important thing to get staff feedback on and get everyone's input on, making sure that we're not creating a burden also to get to your car or things like that.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so the motion was made by Vice President Pizzotti. It was seconded by Board Trustee Akala, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I too vote aye. I need a motion to extend our time because we're now past 10 o'clock.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, so the motion was made by Board Trustee Akala. It was seconded by Vice President Pizzotti. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I too vote aye, with an apology to everyone who's here. Okay, that takes us then to board governance, and we're having a discussion tonight on the community eligibility provision. And we had staff report, which is in here. Okay.
Assistant Superintendent Landsberger is going to just introduce.
Thank you.
His staff is the one that researched the report for the board, and then the board can enter into discussion or questions specifically on this particular item.
Perfect, thank you.
So a very brief introduction is that the community eligibility provision that the attached report is looking at is an alternative meal counting and collection procedure that was made available beginning in school year 2014-15. There's a couple key components to it. It's based on your free pay students. So it's the students who qualify to have to pay nothing. They're completely subsidized. And for a school site to even be able to look at eligibility or determine eligibility, 40% of their students have to qualify as free through the direct certification process, i.e. not an application. They've already been identified through CalWorks or through county services or something, and they're identified as a free student. If you recall, those who have been on the board for several years, Ms. Pina brought an information sharing agreement in between food services and different departments within the county. That is the direct certification process that this program is referring to. So a school site has to be at 40% free direct certification to be eligible to participate in the program. And then as you go through this particular provision, you'll find that in the school district, we only have 4 schools that fall into that qualification. And those 4 schools are on page 4 of the documentation, and that is Elkhorn, Westfield, Westmore, and Riverbank.
You had a note on YOLO, and so there was something, I just wanted some more explanation on kind of YOLO, even though that 83% you had, the note had said that it was mixed funding.
When we did this, as you started looking at, and as you started looking at potentially running this program out, the issue becomes the cost benefit of having this program, and you apply it to the entire school. And then what you can actually claim for a free versus a reduced versus a paid student. We didn't look at YOLO because the population is so small. We could run it through YOLO, but the population of YOLO averages anywhere from 120 to 130 kids a year. And so it's really not a good indication of what this program would cost you if you went to move forward on a school site. So we just took those 4 schools just to run an analysis and say, what does it look like if you were to run this program on these 4 school sites? And those are the 4 that we use because of they hit the 40% factor. The other component of this program is, obviously, if you get all the students to qualify as free, that is where the program actually pays for itself. You'll notice in the backup documentation, even the school sites that had over a 40% population that was direct certified, the program cost money for the district at every one of those sites. The analysis that was done was that if you hit 62.5% of direct certified students, the program's going to pay for itself because you're then allowed to extend the subsidy past those kids and cover students that normally wouldn't be covered under this program. So again, you have the information there. It shows you across just the 4 schools that we looked at. It would be an additional subsidy that the district would have to pay because the amount of money that the program would be able to collect through this direct certification process doesn't cover their meal cost. That's a quick introduction.
Thank you.
I was just going to ask, did you give a ballpark estimate of the annual ongoing cost to the district for that?
For those 4 schools, the annual ongoing cost based on the current level of participation is about $13,000. However, if you have this program at these school sites, your participation level is most likely going to increase because you do not serve meals to every student on these school sites. So as that amount goes up, the students who are free are participating. The students who are not free or not participating, you'll start to subsidize them and your cost is going to go up because you'll see an increase in participation.
Well, I just wanted to appreciate staff for bringing this up because I know there's been kind of community discussion about stigmatism of students who are actually being turned away from meals because they can't pay for them, right? And so the community eligibility program was created such that you actually remove that stigmatism and that you would be able to kind of pay for the entire school without kind of just paying for the kids just showing up and paying for hot lunch. So, I mean, it's open for discussion. I had brought it up in February as a consideration. We make a lot of different types of investments in the school district. We notice where these schools land in terms of the eligibility. And so it's possibly an equity conversation about whether or not $13,000 plus is an investment that we want to make, but that's one of the reasons why, to create transparency on the board, that we should discuss what our what our options are, right? Because again, even before I came on the board, this was an issue that was brought up in terms of kids being turned away or shamed for not having the money or being given an alternative meal at school sites. So I just wanted to, I felt it was just good to just bring up and explore what our options are, if any.
I just want to clarify with that because I know we had this conversation a while ago, I feel like over a year ago, I don't remember when, about making sure that our students and what happens if they don't have a balance right now in their meal, and we were assured that no students were being turned away. And so I just want to clarify with that comment, or if this is something that you're hearing is going on now, because
It's something that I've heard come from the community, that kids are afraid to go because they don't have money, or they felt that they can't ask, so they actually go without a lunch. So, I mean, that may be just a local practice. That may just be a practice of habit and not a policy.
I know we did address this last year.
Do you have a
and
policy
We
on this?
do have a policy that every kid will get a lunch.
Yeah.
Because this was an issue that did come up, and we were contacted by, the board was contacted by a couple of parents where this had happened, and Superintendent Luna said, I will get on this, and she did. And she made sure that this is not happening. So I wanted to see, is it happening at specific school sites that you're hearing from, or?
I'd rather not disclose the source, but I've been told that it's happening.
Okay.
Do you have a comment, Assistant Superintendent Landsberger? Can you-
Yes, I do, thank you. You did bring this issue up before, because there was a policy that if a student didn't have the ability to pay, so this would not be your free students, this would be your pay students. If they didn't have the ability to pay, they would be extended credit up to a certain dollar amount, and then if they didn't bring their account current or whatever, then the meals were no longer being served. The board asked to have that policy changed. It was changed. It went into effect in January of 2016. It went into effect, I think, February 1st of 2016, based on information in January. And at that point, the direction to staff was any student in the paid category who did not receive a meal because they didn't have the ability to pay would be given an alternative meal for free. And we've continued to do that. In 15-16, that meal cost that food services is calculating is done at the free rate, and it's around $1. And they serve 2,248 meals to students who are in a paid status because they didn't have the ability to pay. And for the current year, 16-17, they're up to, again, using that dollar rate at about $5,200 for the year. And students have come and asked for a meal that didn't have money in their account, or their account was overdrawn. So no student who requests a meal, regardless of their pay status, is turned away. They do get an alternate meal, whether it be a sandwich and some fruit and milk or whatever, but no student is turned away and not provided with lunch and or breakfast.
But it's indicated that they didn't have money in their account, so they get a different meal.
They get an alternative meal.
Right, in front of their peers. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Actually,
yes.
One piece, and I think this is an important conversation, so I appreciate you bringing it up, especially as we look at the national kind of dialogue that's happening right now, and we're hearing what shockingly some places are doing. And so, that we're absolutely not shaming our children. We want to make sure that we're not having some of these issues that we're hearing about that are happening in other places. But I do want to just bring up one piece as a teacher, because there was a time when educators knew everybody in their classroom who was free or reduced lunch. It was actually, to be honest, if you were going on a field trip, it was nice, because then you would order your X amount of free and reduced lunch, so just in case you had extra lunches to take with you. But that can no longer happen, which has some big pros to it, because now teachers don't know who their students are who are free or reduced lunch, which is a big pro, and that's good for us. And so I just want to make that clear, and so we know that at a school there might still be some stigma that we can have a conversation about, but the teachers don't even know. Nobody other than maybe I don't even know, a food service worker or someone knows who's free, who's reduced lunch. And so I just want to make that very, very clear that is not known by anyone in terms of what status a student is. And I think that's an important point. And as I look at this, I really like the option of continuing to look at this if we get to the 62.5% qualification level. But that's what I'm thinking of right now. But I'm certainly happy to discuss this. And if we have any issues with students, I think we need to make sure that it's being reported to the appropriate people so we can make sure that we have that information under our belts when we're making decisions.
So Scott, Jackie just brought something up. So do we do these different meals? I mean, for these children?
Well, it's more at the high school than anywhere else, and it is an alternative meal. They don't get to go through the à la carte line and pick through an à la carte meal. They have an alternative meal. If the board wanted to, you could change that policy, and if it's not an alternative meal, then the cost that you're going to bear in doing that is going to be at least triple what you're currently seeing, because the difference in between the free and reduced cost that they've put together in this alternative meal versus a full cost meal goes from $1 to $3.25. So you're going to triple your cost, which is fine if that's what you choose to do. But there is a difference in cost in the way that the program is being run.
It's happening at arcades as well.
Okay, I will have to look into that, because the Cade's had a very small amount when
It's
we
small,
looked at
but
this
it's happening.
before. Okay.
I'm just wondering how that would even look as at arcade, having a sandwich option for a few kids, because that's not one of the meals off. I'm just confused at what that would look like or how that would.
I think what I'm hearing from the conversations tonight is a couple of things that we can really address. And one is to ensure that when we are in our training meetings with our staff, in this case, it would be our food services workers, that we reiterate really what our mission is in terms of serving our children in food services for breakfast, for lunch, and for the snack period that happens at every school. Just to clarify, any student that qualifies under the free and reduced application of meals receives the full gamut of the meal. And nobody really knows that. They just go through the line. I think they have badges or cards or whatever they go through, just so that we, as a school district, manage. Every school district does that. In terms of students who don't qualify for the free and reduced meal program, they qualify then by participating through paying for their lunches. And parents have access to paying for their meals online ahead of time or as they go. And, we're all human. Life, we all get it in life. We get behind in our payments or whatever it is. But our children are not turned away from being fed during the breakfast, the snack, and the lunch time. If they are behind on their account, that's not the student's responsibility. That's us as adults. Okay, and so that is why through the discussion last year, we changed the board policy to ensure that every student will have a meal. Now, is it a different meal for students who don't qualify under the free and reduced? It is different, because that's what our policy is at this time. And so what we can do is go through the training with the staffing and reiterating what our mission is, reiterating what our policy is. And should the board choose to discuss this further in changing the policy, we can certainly do that. But until the board changes the policy under this particular provision, we will continue as it is, but ensure that our students all are treated with the dignity and, of course, the courtesy of what all children eat at every meal and snack available.
Yeah.
So let me,
Go ahead.
do you
Go
have
ahead
some?
now.
Okay. So let me ask this. There's only 4 schools that would be qualified for this program, correct?
5 if you count yellow, but it's so small. Yeah.
Right, okay. So then the families that pay in those 4 schools would be receiving a benefit that other families don't in the other schools that don't
So if
qualify.
you understand the process of direct certification, you'd have to be on a public benefit, right? You're a foster kid, you're on like CalWorks. There are families who are working families who are immigrants who aren't on a public benefit, so you don't get matched. Right, so there are, like, if you look at just the area there's And again, at the Department of Ed, I'm the one who actually looked at the direct certification MOU, right? So, in my previous job. So that's how, if you're not on a public benefit, you're not being identified. But in our communities, we probably have working families who possibly could qualify, right? And so I'm not going to say that, say if you look at Elkhorn, there's 46%, that you're saying that there's like 54% are getting free lunch off the benefit of others, because they're very likely possibly may be eligible if there were other circumstances.
No, I'm not saying at those schools that some people would be benefiting off of somebody else. I'm saying there's disparate, the treatment between, say, Stonegate, Southport, and Bridgeway, and I guess River City would be different between the treatment of the schools that do qualify, Yellow, Elkhorn, Westfield,
These
and
are higher
Riverbank.
poverty schools, that's correct.
Right, okay.
Because they have more free reduced lunch, free lunch kits.
I was a free lunch kid, so I totally get it.
Scott, I have one more question. So to qualify, you have to fall within that criteria, but what about, like, let's say, undocumented folks that are here who are hardworking individuals? And, I mean, how do we assess, how would we put them into, their children into a program like that? Do we do it? I'm
Not
talking about our
certified.
working families that are not documented.
Well, again, the only way we can qualify somebody for National School Lunch or the Free and Reduced program is via application or direct certification. So if they haven't filled out an application and they're not within services that have direct certification, then we're not capturing them. So I can't include somebody that I don't have that certification or
But
application
isn't
on.
the application given when the student enters the school?
Application is issued every year. It's an annual application.
Okay.
And we do our best to get 100% application.
Right.
Do we get 100% application every year at every site? No, I'm sure we don't. But we do our best to work with the site administration at the beginning of the year. We send it home. We send it to the school sites. We track who we've gotten them from. We track who we don't have them from. And we'll go back to the school sites and go, here are the list of students we don't have an application on, and we encourage the application to be completed. The one thing we cannot do is we cannot require somebody to submit an application. If they choose not to, that's their choice.
I mean, it's again, as we revisit it, there might be, as, you encourage people to apply for the application. So you're either direct cert or you're applying, right? So if there aren't people who are applying in registration, again, one of my other hats in Oakland Unified is that I used to do centralized enrollment, and we used to check direct certification as well as with every single family, no matter whatever you look like. We said, here's your application, fill it out. Right, and so that's what we do on practice. I'm not sure if that's something that we do in practice here in terms of centralized enrollment, but that's my past practice of how we try to capture people who may not be on a public benefit to try to get better, more accurate numbers. It's a practice of enrollment. So again, like hoping that the district would revisit over time this number to make it more feasible for some of our schools. If we're not really capturing, I mean, some of these schools are right on the edge, right? Like, so 52% at Riverbank, like there's just they're right there at the edge, so.
I think what I'm trying to hear and what might be interesting is thinking about this as policy. It sounds like one of the issues is it's a separate lunch versus, which is maybe something that we could look at as what are our numbers of kids that are getting to that point who are not qualified, and then have those families been given the option of this form? It would just be interesting to know. So if they, moving forward, so if we have people who have a balance that isn't paid, do we ensure that they have seen this form and that are they eligible and we didn't capture them, and then we make sure that we do in that point? And so that to me sounds like an important piece too, to make sure as we look.
I was just going to say, is there a mid-year option where, like, say the income levels may have changed for a family? Like
Direct cert's one time.
I'm sorry?
Direct certification's once a year.
Right, but I mean, if somebody loses their job in November and then,
Yes.
you can go ahead and try to get on this.
Yeah.
So do we have an opportunity to try and go out and encourage families if there's like a qualifying incident with your health care, right? So if there's something like that, do we have the ability to try and reach out to families if there's a qualifying incident, to remind them that, hey, if you lost your job, call us, we'll try and get you on the free and reduced lunch program?
I think beyond our food services department, that would then be in collaboration with our student support services, because our outreach specialists all work with the families at each of the particular schools. And so they're probably going to be the first frontline people who are going to know whether families have had a transition or a change. And I think that is a good point to make, that we need to make sure that both of those departments are working together so that we capture as many possibilities, as possible. I mean, sometimes our families just don't know what is there for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's half of anything that we do. That I think we heard that in our parent community forums. Our parents just don't know what is there for them to get their to get their kids ready for college or get them ready for internships. What is at their high school? Because they just don't know. And so we keep that on our mind a lot. But that's a really good point, to bring in the student support services in collaboration with food services to work together on that.
So they call right now, like for truancy, and so maybe we can connect them if somebody has a balance and they're immediately connected, maybe to make that phone
absolutely.
call.
We could
That would
definitely
be a
do
really
that.
good, and then we can continue to monitor this closely, possibly.
Right.
No, again, appreciate staff in the discussion, just because I know
Yeah,
it's an
it's an
ongoing issue, and
important-
our demographics change all the time.
Right.
And people aren't always applying because of fear for a number of reasons.
You're right.
I'm all in favor of all of our kids having free lunches on us.
I'm
but
trying to get
that's
here.
just,
I'm trying to get the $10,000.
That's just me personally.
$13,000 for 5 schools.
So I'm wondering if maybe we can come back and revisit this with more data, maybe after the end of this school year, so that we can take a look at the numbers for this year, and especially rolling into the next school year, and how we do our efforts a little bit more focused on ensuring that everybody has that application turned in. I remember as a school principal, that was a huge thing for us to do in the first 30 days, and we were relentless because we wanted to make sure every family who had this opportunity was part of the whole program.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, so we have our future board agenda items listed, and we can fill out some blue sheets next time if you have any ideas. I know we talked about hearing the pathways, including Project Lead the Way, and looking at a possible group to make sure that we're keeping a close focus on our kids. So I'll fill out a blue slip on those.
And before and after school programs. Looking forward to hearing about that.
Yes, yes, it's on the radar. Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
Motion to
Okay.
adjourn.
Okay, motion made by Board Vice President Pizzotti, seconded by Board Trustee Akala. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I too vote aye. Have a great night.